Hello and welcome in everybody to this, your final day of competitive Smite action for this weekend. My name's Judas Priestley, joined by Spooky Mars, and we will be bringing you the Olympus Bolts versus the Tartarus Titans. Now, it's been a bit of a crazy weekend of games. We've seen some really solid, neat play. We've also seen some Zhainy jungle, which we will not speak of any further. What do you think of what you've seen so far, Spooky?
Well, now I feel like I have to talk about the Zhainy jungle because you,
You
brought
don't.
it up. I wasn't a fan of it. Didn't really do a whole lot, but we did see him in mid as well. Wasn't very successful there either. So I don't know what's going on with the SEC and Zhainy, but apparently he's up on the rise. Still struggling a little bit to find the actual success. But no, you never know what the day may hold. And on the final day of the weekend, you might see some spicy stuff start to come out.
We'll have to see exactly if there will be spicy stuff as we head on in to picks and bans for this first game. Now, like we said, this has been a bit different to what we've seen in the SPL. This is, of course, being played on the previous patch still. Slightly, different meta there. A lot of things are the same, but with recipes still favoring, the Golden Goose Berries and the Bountiful Bow. I suppose for the last time, we'll be seeing exactly what the meta was like on the 10.9 patch.
Yeah, and already you're starting to see some of that, right? Toth banned out by the Bolts. Not the one that we usually see get the most prioritization. Normally it is that Raijin, which maybe speaks a little bit to where the Bolts' heads are at. They may be looking to first pick that Raijin for themselves and limit the options that the Titans have for counter options in that lane. Toth is just the other mid that people tend to look to. Lots of range, can trade with that Raijin very effectively. Bolts now banning out Habois and Freya. Kind of putting the onus on the Titans to take care of some of these supports that have been reigning in this patch. Ares gone, Chernobog taken off the board. Ban goes to Umoja.
Yeah, it would spell to me that the Bolts may be considering picking Raijin for themselves, opting to take away some of those things that do well against it. And there we go, like that, there comes the Raijin, so not too surprising to see that. Also been a lot of priority on this patch to magical ADCs still now, of course, Freya off the table. It does leave open, for example, the Oloran, but you've been a lot of combination with that with the Umoja, which is, of course, off the table now. So you are the Tartarus Titans. After that Sun Wukong, what else do you think you're going to be prioritizing?
Pele.
I think the Oloran looks really good, but the Pele also up. And man, do I even really need to tell anyone how good Pele has been recently? After her buffs, she's just been kind of terrorizing the jungle as a whole. There are some other junglers that are still up. Thor, notably, is still available. And with Bolts now having 2 picks, well, I was going to say they could go Thor Ganesha to limit the counter pick options, but Anhur also brings some aggression over that duo lane. Does have CC immunity if the Titans try to go for that Oloran for themselves as well. So it does give you a good pick here with some flexibility and limit some of what the Titans can do in response. Nesh picked up as well. I don't know if I'd expect to see the ADC come out. It would be good to pick it up here before the second wave of bans come out for the Titans. And I'll get 1 pick here. I'll have to see what it is.
It almost feels like the Bolts are trying
Athena.
to draw the Titans into picking this Oloran, but Athena's still on the table, gets picked up. Of course, that is some global presence that we've seen be really highly valued, in particular with the Chernobog, which of course has been banned away. So with that global presence coming out from Athena, it does mean that somehow the Bolts are going to have to find a way to contend with that. It's always one of those little things that almost gets overlooked until the game begins. And then once you're in the action and Athena's just outnumbering every single fight, it becomes really difficult to deal with. But I'm not sure how the Bolts will opt to go into this. They've still got that very anti-Oloran draft already lined up. So we'll have to see if the Titans do want to go for that. But jungle bans seem to be the prioritization here.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised Thor doesn't get banned out because you've picked yourselves up the Athena. Very good at rotating across the map, making an impact, turning fights around in your favor. Thor is one of the few gods right now that can sort of match that rotation. Not quite as effectively as Athena. It's not a true global ultimate like Athena's ult is, but it does give you a lot more flexibility, a lot more options there. Ratatoskr, another option that is still on the board for them. We've seen him get picked up, offers a ton of early pressure. Maybe a little bit easier to execute on than the Thor tends to be as well, but at this level I think that's more towards comfort than anything else. Hachiman does get picked up, opting for safety over the
Set your
traditional
ruler.
power we've seen, and set. That may just be the mid lane there.
An
Nope,
omen to
jungle.
your
We've got a
end.
Raijin. I'm sorry, but
So that one.
Chel.
That one's spicy. So Ixchel, of course, similar to Set in that you can play them in quite a variety of roles. You know, we've seen some Ixchel support in the past. Obviously, Ixchel mid makes the most sense, but Ixchel in the jungle too. I don't know, Spooky. Where would you put the Ixchel in this draft?
Back into the god pool? I just picked something else there, personally. Maybe
Your daily
solo?
dose of vitamin D.
I don't like the mage in the jungle very much, but I feel like Set is just the best solo laner they have on their team.
Mm-hmm.
But he's also the best jungler they have on their team.
Probably the best mid laner too.
No, we got the Raijin. We got
Yeah,
the Raijin. That's the
we'll
best
see.
middle laner they have on their team. Going into the Raw as well. Should be a fairly decent matchup. Raijin's also one of the best appliers of Divine Ruin, in my opinion. Just because it spreads so easily with the Raiju. I don't think this Raw's going to get a whole lot of healing. It's good mitigation to the Pele, the Sun Wukong as well. I really like Bolts' draft up until this Ixchel. I mean, I don't know where it's going, man.
Oh, well, there's only one way to find out exactly what these bolts are thinking, and that's to get on into the game and nail down exactly where this Ixchel is. So let's take a look. We take a quick peek, and we do find it is a Raijin in the solo lane with Ixchel in the mid lane. What do you think about that one?
I literally would have preferred to see Ganesha in the solo lane and Ixchel support. I just don't understand the idea of putting Raijin, one of the best mids in the game. No, the best mid in the game that made you band Toth out to first pick this Raijin for, all the way into the solo lane, where he's not going to be able to impact a large portion of this game, like at all. You're not going to be bringing the Taiko drums to the mid lane fights. You're not going to be bringing the Taiko drums over to that duo lane or these Gold Fury fights. You're going to be using them in solo, and that's about it until we get like 10-15 minutes into the game where people finally start rotating. And even then, lestimics on the Sun Wukong just has better rotations on account of being a beefy frontliner with CC who can just get in there and then have a get out of jail free card. I think Duduin's going to get a fair amount of ganks put over towards him from MastKiII, and they're just going to push lestimics ahead on the Sunwoo.
Yeah, you would hope, in even as far down as your casual games, that if there's a mage in solo, your jungler's showing up there and like you're putting as much pressure as you possibly can just to punish this pick. Now, this is of course a much more organized game than that, and maybe though. Duduin, looking at the early pressure they put out onto lestimics, is this the counter to that Sun Wukong? But a bit of scrapping in the mid lane instead. Bero loses the beads early on there. Not the biggest deal into a Pele until we see a rotation coming out from Galadriel and this Athena. So keep an eye on the Ixchel for how safe they might be, but it's an early little win for the Tartarus Titans.
Duduin's going to have some pressure over in this right lane until lestimics hits level 5 and /or gets the Soul Eater online. At that point, he's just not doing anything to lestimics. He's just going to sit at range, easily clear, going to be a very safe god. If he gets in any trouble, Somersault Cloud gets him out of jail for free, and then all kill pressure just disappears for Duduin. The same is not true for lestimics. There's tons of kill potential over there. You can just get on top of Duduin. He's gone for the Vampiric Shroud, so going for a little bit of lifesteal there. Not going to have a lot of mana sustain on top of it. I don't know. I'm just going to look away from this solo lane at this point, because I'm just not having a good time over there. Instead, focus a little bit on MastKiII here. Going to be able to get active very early. Already going for an invade. Thundercrash comes through.
Bit of a chase onto MastKiII as the Raijin putting some slowdown. OtherTheAnother used the beads to get the kill, and that will be the first blood. And looking for second blood too, because the Taiko drums have started. Lestimics in trouble. Bero with a long rotation. Duduin dominating the solo lane. I think Raijin's the real pick here.
It's just so strange from MastKiII to make that solo invade 1v2 when you know OtherTheAnother is there. You chased him there. And you can see Duduin on the Raijin right over that wall. Just a little bit of a risky play from MastKiII that ends up not paying off. Gives 2 kills over to the Bolts. Get themselves a nice lead. That could be what they need on this Raijin. Start pushing things ahead in that lane. And I will say, if you can snowball this Raijin, he will make things very difficult for lestimics. You get him ahead, get him some items online before lestimics can get those procs and the Bolt and the ability to just run at him. All right, now you got something cooking there. Question is still, how much can you apply that across the map, right? Can you get him active in the mid lane? We saw the rotation come out from BeroTheBeast. Can we see the rotation come out from Duduin have that same impact?
Ooh. Whoa, tower dive already. Galadriel falls down in an instant there. Level 5 ticks over for the dual lane of the Bolts, and they just hit that 4 key, man. Sometimes it's just that simple. It almost reminds me of the early stages of the season where dual lane pressure early was so important, and they just made it pay off massively right there.
Yeah, that was an excellent little play from Dutsher and Lode. Drop the Ganesha, the Dharmic pillars. And he just catches him right on top of that wall, makes him sit on it. And Galadriel, unfortunately, nothing he can really do about the Tablet of Destinies.
Oh, this is sick. I'm a fan. Maybe you aren't, but like, I mean, I'm loving what Duduin is bringing because it adds that air of mystery to the Tartarus Titans. They're not used to playing against this Raijin solo, and while it's doing well now, we still don't really know how it's going to do later on. And I quite like that the Bolts are just throwing a little spanner in the works.
All right, listen, what else?
You don't have to agree.
It's definitely a spanner in the works. But look, MastKiII doing things!
Oh, the defender of Olympus on top as well. OtherTheAnother just blown up. Zhainy gets that first return kill. So the Tartarus Titans are on the board. It was the set that was actually struggling. They had to do it, having to defend their own blue buff. Can't do it. A little bit of an L for the Raijin here. But Tartarus Titans showing signs of life. So stuck on this pick, dude.
It's just so strange, right? Tablet of Destinies. Okay, it does.
Figure it out. You got time.
Gives you some good anti-tank damage, right? It's gonna do a little bit of shred work onto lestimics, but it takes so long to stack, and you only have the one guy over there. And granted, you're in solo lane. People like to brawl. You're against a melee character, so you should have more opportunities to kind of go for those trades and get those stacks online. But it just takes so long, Judas. And we were already talking about how Duduin's got to be able to bring those Taiko drums out of that lane for them to really be useful. He has to have that utility in those team fights. That's what Raijin does. He has great damage, but he also has great utility in his Taiko drums. How long are you going to be able to sit over there stacking Tablet of Destinies? Apparently the Bolts don't care because they're going to go ahead and start this Fury up.
Started up, Galadriel hits a big taunt, but the Desert Fury will come through and secure that. That's very sneaky from the Bolts. It wouldn't have a composition you'd necessarily relate with early objective burn, but that went down in a matter of seconds.
It does go down incredibly fast. They've got Lode, who does have inherent prot shred just on his passive. And BeroTheBeast does do some pretty good tick damage as well. You saw him drop the great end. I definitely did not look that up when I saw the Chel pick. I knew what it was called. But the
I believe it.
are being very proactive in this game right now, right? They've come up with an odd kind of draft that's very unusual, not your typical 5-man draft you'd expect to see in this kind of game. But they're putting in the work. They are making active plays across the map and looking for ways to push this draft ahead for themselves. They went for an early counter invade onto MastKiII, got Duduin ahead, and now they're just taking the fight constantly to MastKiII.
Oh, MastKiII under so much pressure. The whole team, it feels like, is here and just dominated down by Duduin. Raijin again showing up effectively. I'm not sure any other solo laner gets that kill, you know. It's got to be the Raijin hoping to make that work. But yeah.
All right. Solo lane pick, not solo laner. All right.
Yeah, that's right. I think it's just a lot of pressure onto the opposing jungler right now, and MastKiII's trying to make things happen. It's just not working out so far.
Tycho Gems really just did not do anything to lestimics there. He is absolutely fine with that one. But Duduin is now 2-0. He is pushing himself ahead here. And he's going for the Breastplate of Valor next. So getting some bulk online. Gonna go ahead and try to be a little bit of that frontliner. He's not going to be a traditional frontline. He's not going to be nearly as tanky as lestimics. Right now the Bolts are making the pick work for them. If they can keep this pressure up and keep looking for these objectives, maintain this game plan where they're just grouping over one person and taking whatever they can find there, things could look good for them. The question is, how long can they keep that up, right? Because as this game goes on, the Titans will become harder to kill. Galadriel won't be falling down as quickly. You're not just going to drop the Dharmic Pillars and a knock-up and say, okay, there's no more Athena. Titans will have to start grouping, get some vision coverage down, and start responding to some of these rotations the Bolts are doing. Because so far, Titans have really just been content to let the Bolts get their one pick. Zhainy's just been kind of farming in the mid lane, got a little bit of an XP lead as a result. But something has to change there. If you keep letting them make these rotations, these death balls, it's going to start getting out of hand at some point. Bolts already lead by 2K.
You wouldn't expect the team without an Athena to be the one sort of leading on these engagements, but it's just been so far that Galadriel not able to keep up because they've actually been the target one of these times of trying to defend that Gold Fury, and it's just meant that, you know, we've had Zhainy farming up, but Ra been highly prioritized lately, just potentially to be a bit of a late game carry at the moment. That tends to hit for the very, very large numbers, and with an Athena taunt as setup, potentially Zhainy can really make this pick work, but have to let them get to that stage and start to get involved soon.
I will say, Athena taunt is a great CC. I don't know if it's my preferred CC for landing, you know, searing pains, just because the target you're hitting does still have some movement options there. And that, you know, if Galadriel is moving, so is your target. And you don't really want to stop in the middle of a team fight just to make sure, hey, Zay, can you searing pain this guy? But at the same time, if it does land, it's a massive amount of damage. And I'm pretty sure Zhainy can account for the small amounts of movement that whoever's taunted is going to be able to do. But we just haven't seen them actually group so far for it, right? We're level 12 on the Raw. Ultimate already hits for a good amount of damage. But we've seen it dropped, I think, once, and it was on these mid-harpies just to secure them. Titans so far have been very slow, very passive. They haven't really been doing a whole lot of fighting coming out. And Prophetic Cloak is what we're going for on Duduin here.
Duduin's cooking, man. He's already finished his recipe. OtherTheAnother gets taunted in. No searing pain to follow up. That is a full health set. But yeah, all eyes are on Duduin, and for the right reasons. This guy's pulling out. He even stopped the Breastplate of Valor to finish Prophetic Cloak. Like, I mean, I didn't say it was good yet. We don't know, but it's interesting, that's for sure.
You'll
find it.
I just don't know why you build Prophetic Cloak in the solo. I mean, yes, you can build in solo because it is going to be a massive amount of tankiness for you. But Duduin's only hitting physical targets right now. He's only hitting lestimics and MastKiII if he makes the rotation over. Someone who has it as well, but he makes better rotations is the thing. Sun Wukong rotates better than the Raijin does. He gets into the backline. He gets on top of those magical damage carries like this Chel and gets the stacks a lot easier than Duduin on this Raijin, who has to wait for the cooldown. It's a big searing pain.
That's that combo coming through, but OtherTheAnother doesn't get caught by it in the great end. She'll sustain the rest of the Olympus Bolts. Tartarus Titans flip their hand. It almost worked out. Instead, going to pull this Gold Fury. Now, the Bolts, I believe, are aware of this. Looks like they're just going to give it up, though. They have nothing that they want to contend with, and that'll be a cheap only Fury for the Tartarus Titans. Again, getting themselves back into this game.
Be awesome, Judas. Did you know the name of Great End before I used it?
I did. I'd come up with another thing, but I'll save that for if you have another another good start from BeroTheBeast. But that's the beads out. Good pull from Galadriel. And again, an opportunity potentially for the Searing Pain combo to come out.
Yeah, Bees being down on this show should be a massive signal for the Titans, who brought this game back closer to an even status. At this point, I think it's, 1,500 gold maybe in favor of the Bolts. Really not a whole lot to write home about. You're not really too concerned. My big thing is in this duo lane, which we have been very quiet about. We haven't talked about duo very much. AicyD is 2 levels ahead of Lode right now. He's got quite a bit going for him. And it's not because Lode is taking spills. It's not because he's getting pressured out. They're both 0-0 and Lode has 1 assist. But AicyD just seems to be getting more passive farm across the map. Getting those shield buffs, getting those purple buffs on time, and making sure he's not losing anything to anyone else. We've seen a couple rotations come out from the Bolts over to this side. A little bit of split XP here and there. AicyD is doing a fantastic job. If he's allowed to stay this safe and keep on scaling up, could be a little bit of a problem for the Bolts come late game when Titans actually do start grouping around these objectives, start contesting a little bit more. We already saw a little bit of that around those mid-Harpies. And that's anything to go by. The Titans have plenty left in the tank.
Yeah, it's notable that Duduin on this Raijin might be trying to be a bit of a frontline presence, but the dive is not going to be particularly great. And Hachiman, one of the best anti-dive carries in the game. So if it's only set you have to worry about, that the mounted archery will get you a long, long way away from the OtherTheAnother. So keep our eyes on AicyD come these late game fights. Like you said, it will be a bit of a problem to deal with. And another taunt coming through onto Bero. Summer doesn't connect. I think that was from the silence going out of Dutsher. Now OtherTheAnother is the target instead. Is willing to dive under this tower. Those are some full health targets you're going for here. Zhainy low health as well. OtherTheAnother low, but the Searing Pain off the mark. And unfortunately, if you're playing Ra, it's a bit of feast or famine. You either hit those Searing Pains or you don't.
I will say, BeroTheBeast is doing a good job of using this Great End to keep his team alive and facilitate these dives, these aggressive plays they're doing. The tick heal that's coming through has been able to mitigate a lot of damage from the Titans so far. Pyromancer gets started up and confirmed by Zhainy there. That's what happens when you don't get the kill on the Raw. You have a lot of secure to contend with at the end of things. I wanted to take a little bit of a shift back to what you were talking about these team fights and Duduin's build here. Because it's like you said, the dive is not great from the Bolts. Instead, or from the Bolts. So what I think Duduin has to do is utilize these tanky items to survive in the Taiko drums to create space for his team. This is very much a front-to-back composition that the Bolts have.
Yep.
And they do have some good tools for it, right? OtherTheAnother can get in there, has a lot of healing from set on his own. Add in Bero as well, the Great End. We've seen how much healing actually comes through from that. And you have Duduin just putting out the taunts, the fears, making it so that the Titans can't easily collapse in on the Bolts. Now, Duduin will be a target here in those Taiko drums. He's slow, he's a big guy, it's pretty easy to look at and say, hey, we gotta kill this guy. So, giving yourself a little bit extra survivability with the Tablet of Destinies to add to your damage. I'm seeing where his build is coming together, and I kind of like it. I don't know if it'll work out exactly, but so far, Bolts are 4 kills to 1, but the Titans just sneak an entire Fury right out from under their noses, and they're playing some great objectives as well.
Yeah, although the macro play from the Tartarus Titans has been outstanding. Find themselves 3 kills down and 1,000 gold ahead. It's something that only happens in EU. But it's just been these objective secures, like the Pyromancer we previously saw, turning that into a Gold Fury. There's just been a little lull in the play from the Olympus Bolts. They're not really pushing the envelope the way they were previously. In fact, it's been a lot of MastKiII trying to engage with Galadriel, and then the Bolts just retreating as far as they can. So the Bolts clearly want to take this game late, but they've taken it so slowly that they've really let the Tartarus Titans back into this one, and now they're coming into this mid-game stage with a pretty handy lead.
I think as this game goes on, the Bolts kind of have to allow the Titans to be the initiators on these fights. Because if things don't work out, if they aren't able to get those kills, they just have Zhainy on this Raw. And the fact is, we're no longer in the early stages where you could run at someone and maybe Galadriel use the Defender of Olympus and gets over. If he does, it's so early on, he's still pretty squishy. You can turn the damage onto him and take him down.
Mm-hmm.
Now, he's tanky. Now, Zhainy's moving pretty fast with the speed of light. Things aren't quite as simple as, oh, just run at them and we're going to get a kill. If you fail, you've expended your cooldowns, and Zhainy just heals them up. With the last gasp online as well, you really don't want to be giving him too many options to just be capping off his team and then looking for the reinitiation, because they have tons of that.
Mm-hmm.
Pull back, heal up with Zhainy. MastKiI's got plenty of healing. lestimics has plenty of sustain. Once you feel a little bit healthier, you just go right back in. The Bolts don't have that same survivability. Yes, they have the great end from Chel. Yeah, they have the Lunar Invocation, but it's not quite as good as the Ray from Zhainy.
Mm-hmm.
The Titans just like these extended fights a little bit more. So the Bolts have to be very careful about where they're taking their fights. And they have to make sure they can actually finish what they start. And that's becoming a bit more of a problem as this game goes on.
Yeah, if you tend to find if the fights are quick, then I think they'll be in favor of Olympus Bolts if they can just get in, blow someone up immediately. If the fights tend to get a bit more extended, that's when you'll find Zhainy will have the time to reposition and reset with the healing, and also maybe get Searing Pain back off cooldown. Ra tends to build a lot of cooldown reduction, and it just ups so often. So, if you're getting hit by a Searing Pain, that's a tough fight. If you're getting hit by 2 Searing Pains, that's going to be a nigh on impossible fight. So I think the Bolts are waiting for that perfect re-engagement, because as you said, the Titans need to be the one to start it. But it's going to be tough when you want to be the ones pushing forward. If the Bolts want to be the ones pulling these objectives, I don't know how they're going to have to convince the Tartarus Titans to go for a fight.
Yeah, it's definitely an odd situation to be in. OtherTheAnother does have the ability to be kind of the go button for the Bolts. If the Titans aren't willing to step forward and take a fight, OtherTheAnother can just get into the backline very effectively and start ripping people apart. Zhainy, most likely target. Gonna have to deal with the healing that's coming out from there, and likely a lot of collapse from the Titans as well. You've got Bero, you've got Dutsher, who can just drop the Dharmic Pillars and try to just shred a target down. That could be what the Bolts have to do at some point here, but Galadriel finding a tunnel, pull it Bero in.
Bero in, and Bero can't get out apart from a fantastic shell. Oh, and the Searing Pain just off the mark. A lot expended from both sides, but only a couple of ultimates. Now, Pyromancer are available. Duduin nearby. The Tartarus Titans want to be the ones to pull it. This is our first full 5-on-5. Pyromancer are already low, though. Pyromancer are already down. And that will be that for the Titans.
Titans taking some good fights right now. They're looking to just find these picks. The composition facilitates that so well. If Galadriel pulls anyone and Zhainy lands that Searing Pain, I mean, they're just cooked. They're donezo. Now, Go Fury is the target. 2 ultimates down, but Zhany's going to be getting the Searing Pain back before the Great End, before the Dharmic Pillars. The Titans secure that without even a squeak from the Bolts. So far, it's odd from the Bolts, right? Because we saw them be so active in the early game. But past those initial kills, they have not stepped up to the Titans. They've just been letting them take Pyromancers for free, Furies for free, now a Tier 1 Tower for free, and Galadriel just keeps on going, looking for the taunts, pulls 2 in.
Gets Duduin, but the counter engage is good. Galadriel in some trouble. lestimics all the way on the back line, but the damage isn't there from the Tartarus Titans. MastKiII lurking around the sidelines, but now going all the way on onto lestimics. The Olympus Bolts can't get up into the somersault cloud, and Duduin's on a killing spree, but diving back in again with the Thunder Crash. MastKiII nowhere to go. OtherTheAnother takes out away. Duduin again. Thunder Crash is in. This Raijin being an absolute monster, searing pain off the mark, and that means the Bolts wipe clean through the Titans.
All right, so there you see the Titans try to take a fight, try to be the initiators, and the Bolts just completely turn it around. Taiko drums, but so much space for the Bolts. Now taking 3 down straight to the Fire Giant, 7-1, still down in gold, but they've got all the momentum on the map. They've got all the pressure they need, and Duduin has the drums again, just pushing Galadriel away, not allowing him into this Fire Giant pit. The Stygian Beacon goes down. This actually does go the way of the Titans. Able to sneak that one out. But that is a consolation prize, if anything here, Judas. It's not going to be nearly as good as the Fire Giant around all 5. Now brings this game back to an even standpoint. And honestly, Bolts ahead. Since they're the ones with the Fire Giant now.
Now look at that climb on the graph. You know, the Titans had been doing the macro play very, very well. They'd been setting themselves up, taking decent skirmishes that allowed them to convert it into objectives. And then all of a sudden, one big fight, and that was a big fight from Duduin. Don't make no mistake about it. Duduin and OtherTheAnother, the only ones with kills on the side of the Bolts, and it's easy to see why. They were diving so deep. We'd maybe commented a bit too early about the Raijin dive not being great, because Thunder Crash isn't that great for getting to the backline, but 3 Thunder Crashes, maybe so. And that does explain why, I mean, the Tartarus Titans feeling they can't take a fight, just going to split the map instead.
The Thunder Crash tends to work a lot better as dive as well when you have 3 members versus 2. Titans are out of the base. They might just go for the Phoenix here. They've got so much time to play with. This is a genius call.
Wow.
The recalls are coming through. They do get that bird down. This is a big push for the Titans. They now have to defend their bird. They got plenty of time, and Bolts aren't even going to try to trade it. They're going to go for the tier 2s instead, which makes sense. This push has cost them quite a bit here.
That's a fantastic call from the Titans to go down the lane that did not have a Titan in it. Therefore, like the Bolts just got slowed down at the tier 2. Yeah, well, yeah, it was just nothing in the way. All the Titans had to do was march on in it. They were the only Titans in that lane. Take down an easy Phoenix, and now the Bolts trying to have to take another engagement at this mid lane Phoenix. Split's going to be tough because it's Titan bearing down left side too.
They got MastKiII over here. OtherTheAnother going to go right on in. AicyD is there. Can they stop the push though?
Oh, looks like they're going to turn onto OtherTheAnother, but they're going to sacrifice the mid lane Phoenix instead. Or are they? It's going quite well for lestimics when a 1v3 situation does fall down. Searing Pain finally connects, but not quite enough damage. However, the all-important Phoenix is still alive. Galadriel locked in place, and the Bero will take him down. And there's Duduin diving on in. MastKiII taking a lot of damage. The Titans are brawling in the Titan room. The rest of the Bolts are trying to pile on in, and that's still a very healthy Titan. There's a lot to work with here, but there are 4 members of the Olympus Bolts. Titans down to half. MastKiII comes in the backside. Dutsher so low. Surely has to retreat, but the Titans so low as well. Still holding on to it as low, but they have to retreat. The Olympus Bolts almost find the killing blow, but just fall short.
Fireman's also pouring down that right side as well, so now it's going to be... Actually, Fireman's were walking up towards... Fireman's actually going to go farm the jungle for right now, I suppose. They're taking a little trip.
Where are they going? No! They're trying to take fire!
They're trying to figure out where the Titan went. They showed up. There's no Titan. They didn't know what to do.
I mean, I understand, if you don't get the proper direction. What is happening? Okay. Anyway, Pyromancer goes the way of the Olympus Bolts. And that'll be a runic bomb on the ground. Man, I don't want to be the guy who tries to invade. They're on beat, man. Okay.
No one's getting these harpies without their say-so, all right? They're on watch.
All right. Taking it back to the state of the game. Tartarus Titans with a very low Titan of their own. Having to heal that up, but it's a long way until these left and mid Phoenixes come up. However, the Fire Giant is respawning in about 30 seconds. Keep it together, Spooky! Keep it together, we've got a job to do. Fire Giant respawning soon, and the Olympus Bolts in pole position to take this one. It all depends on if the Tartarus Titans feel like they have a chance to defend, and it looks like they're going to go for the Hail Mary play instead.
I'm not sure I like this decision. I mean, they could go for it. He blinks over the wall. lestimics is going to try to open the door, but he can't He can't get through! What has happened? All he had to do was stagnate, really. Oh, man.
Well, it will be a somersault cloud, but Olympus Bolt's going to give chase. MastKiII, though, falls down to Duduin. They can't combine to take down another, and Duduin. But lestimics, look at that! There's a Duduin. However, this is a tanky Raijin. lestimics just trying to buy as much time as possible. The rest of the Tartarus Titans have retreated back to base. lestimics is buying a ton of time. Could actually be out if they play this correctly. Can Lode get the chase down? There's the Desert Fury, and that will be enough just about. But the right lane Phoenix has respawned for the Bolts. Left and mid, nowhere near for the Tartarus Titans. This should be a free Fire Giant. Not even enhanced yet, though. It feels later in the game than it is, but this will just be standard FG if the Bolts look to take it now.
Yeah, those death timers are so staggered for Titans. lestimics bought a lot of time, yes, but it also means he's going to be coming up a lot later than MastKiII will. Bolts are in great position right now, but they're not pulling the trigger just yet. Oh no.
Dutsher?
They're gonna go for it. You don't want to be there. You don't want to mess with these harpies.
Bero finds the enhanced harpy camp of the side of the Tartarus Titans and opts to take it down. Meanwhile, split push for the AtherTheAnother and Duduin on the right-hand side. Looks like the Bolts have waited for this enhanced Fire Giant to spawn up, but maybe that was the time that the Tartarus Titans were looking for.
Yeah, they're waiting all the way for the enhanced Fire Giant. lestimics is up now, has the teleport available, but where are the Titans at? They're nowhere near being in position. This is going to burn and melt for absolute free.
In seconds.
I don't know why the Titans aren't already here. They're going to try to push in.
Oh, MastKiII on behind. MastKiII's trying to swoop on in. Doesn't manage to steal it away, though, and the AtherTheAnother takes it down because the Duduin is creating so much space. Another fantastic Thunder Crash is really shining on this Raijin pick now. Look at the cooldowns coming through, able to just spam these abilities. But it's 5 with the FG and only 4 for the Tartarus Titans.
Matt, Titans just dropped the ball there. They weren't in position to defend. Now they've got to try to defend a weakened Phoenix against EFG. This is going to be tough. No, I'm sorry. It's not EFG. It was not enhanced. Bolts did have to secure it because MastKiII showed up there. So, regular FG, but still, weakened Phoenixes. This is tough.
Well, the right side Phoenix is the only one not to have fallen yet, but it's going to fall down pretty soon. Duduin still diving deep, did have to use the purification beads. There are only one very, very minuscule health Phoenix still standing. AtherTheAnother lurking. AtherTheAnother just goes all the way into the Titan room, but the defense was pretty good, but the Titan fell so fast that it didn't even matter. A fantastic win for the Olympus Bolts.
Man, Titans just couldn't get the ball rolling for themselves. They were doing really good objective play, really clean, constantly rotating as 4 or 5-man units, Pyromancer, Furies on repeat. They took one scuffed fight in that mid lane, which was the tipping point for them. It just felt like the Titans weren't all on the same page. lestimics went all the way in, and MastKiII was making a loop around, looked at it, was like, I don't know if I want to go in here. Walks over to the green buff, realizes, oh, I'm Pele. I can't get through that wall. I guess I'll take the long way around. By that time, lestimics is dying. MastKiII goes next. And there's just this funnel, one by one, that tips the game back into the Bolts' favor. And that one fight really feels like it embodies a lot of the problems that were going on throughout the game for the Titans. They were not confronting the Bolts as a 5-man unit. They weren't matching those full rotations they were doing. It was this constant kind of drip feed into the Bolts. And if you didn't catch on, it doesn't work out when you do that.
No, we noted the Hachiman over in left, of course, had a lot of free farm, had some freedom to really become that late game monster. Didn't really have an impact. I don't remember seeing much at all coming out from AicyD, unfortunately. So that's game one, though. The good news is we still have another game to go to. We'll have to see if the Tartarus Titans can turn it around, or if the Bolts will take this one in a 2-0 fashion. We'll go for a quick break, and then we'll be right back.
I still remember how it used to be, holding hands, running wild and free. Crossed our hearts, said we'd never let go. I still think about our younger days, how we dreamed about a better life. Holding you so close to me, in the backseat of your ride. We fell apart, thought we lost everything, just lost in a memory. And I sure hope you do remember me like I remember you. Like I remember you. Like I remember you. We drew our names in the pavement, thinking about how we never changed. I still remember how it used to be. I still think about our younger days, how we dreamed about a better life. Holding you so close to me, in the backseat of your ride. We fell apart, thought we lost everything, just lost in a memory. And I sure hope you do remember me like I remember you. Like I remember you. Thought we lost everything, just lost in a memory. And I sure hope you do remember me like I remember you.
Holding tight while it lasted. I thought that we were forever. I didn't know any better. Took a second chance, trusted you again. I feel shattered. Broken strings, cause you play me like a violin. Shame on me for all your 7 deadly sins. Had it all, but you craved attention. Drowning in your own reflection. Put me down just to see me get back up again. 6 feet under and you're ready to give all the pain. If I was your new addition, you make me part of your equation.
All right, everyone, we are back for game number 2 between the Tartarus Titans and the Olympus Bolts. We saw the Titans bring up some fantastic objective play. We saw the Olympus Bolts bring back some fantastic counter engagement play. We also saw some fantastic jungle farming from the right side fire minions of the Tartarus Titans as well. It's been a game that had everything, quite literally everything, even things we've never seen before. So I do wonder if the Bolts are going to be able to consolidate that, or if it'll be the Tartarus Titans bringing us something else for game number 2.
This is such a difficult game to adapt to if you're the Titans, because what do you change there, right? Do you
Hmm.
account for Raijin solo? I don't. That's not like the adaptation I'm looking to make. I'm not thinking, okay, I have to have something to deal with the Duduin on his Raijin. No, I'm picking Sun Wukong again, right? There's no
Yeah.
real draft change you make there. MastKiII looked good on the Pele. It really felt like the problem was just in the grouping from the Titans. I think they can run that entire draft right back, and if they just fix the problems they had on their gameplay, it goes a lot better for them.
We'll see what they can exactly do to fix that as we head on in to picks and bans for this second game. This time, we'll be seeing the Tartarus Titans picking up first pick instead of the Bolts. And we did see Raijin come through as the top pick for the Bolts previously. I don't know, man. If you are the Titans, do you just want to ban that pick?
No, I mean, if Bolts are taking it to mid, yes. If they're taking it back to the solo, I feel like you just throw MastKiII at it a little bit more often and punish the pick a little bit more effectively. We didn't really see a whole lot of ganks coming out there. We saw MastKiII try to make an invade onto the blue buff. Did it at a pretty awkward time when he was on his own against two. Didn't work out, and then MastKiII said, okay, you know what? Lestimics, I died in your lane. You're on your own from now on. Goodbye. We didn't really see him put that pressure anywhere else either. Maybe a little bit in the mid lane. I don't know. I feel like we need to see a little bit more activity overall from the Titans. We just didn't see them start firing on all cylinders.
Yeah, we'll see if they can adjust something in the jungle to maybe be a bit more impactful, because Pele has been super strong, as we've discussed, so that will be a Raijin coming through at the top. But yeah, the Pele didn't quite work out in this past game. Maybe something like the Susano or even Ratatoskr we've seen played lately. Just something that can have a bit more semi-global pressure as well, even Thor, something like that. Just because it felt like MastKiII was struggling to really get into these engagements in the way that they wanted, just because of the way that the Bolts were playing. But looks like the Bolts instead planning on running back the previous draft that was for the Titans. Sun Wukong Pele. Maybe Sun Wukong is a bit better than the Raijin in the solo.
Is this a Sun Wukong solo or is it Sun Wukong mid lane? I'm not convinced either way right now. It could even be Pele in the mid for all I know. I'm not putting any of these gods in the Bolts in any role until we actually get onto the map itself.
That's fair.
Athena comes back for the Titans. That's by this Ratatoskr. That's a lot of global presence. But
I'm here to crack nuts.
I don't know. I didn't like the Athena too much in game one. We saw a lot of taunts come through. Didn't really see any big defenders of Olympus. So
No.
a lot of that Athena pick really didn't get any of the value you would typically expect to see from it. But look at that. We might see an Agni support as well. It's fantastic from the Bolts.
I don't know, Spooky. It's a you and I cast. It might well be an Agni in the jungle. It's been done. But yeah, I think right now the Titans are changing up the game plan significantly, because while Athena is the same pick they chose last time, Raijin and Ratatoskr combined with that Athena in a completely different way. And we did see some good engagement from Galadriel as well, had plenty of good dash taunts, and actually almost fell weakness to the fact that there was a Ganesha on the opposing side. A lot of times you saw Galadriel get in, go for a taunt, and then right at the last second was being silenced out. But with Ganesha off the table, means you can pick up that Athena. So I'm excited to see how this will go instead. But Agni coming up to the mid lane, how do you find Agni goes up against this Raijin? It tends to be what we find where it's like a Thoth or a Ra. What would you say Agni brings to the table?
You're trying to bait me right now into confirming that I think this Agni is in the mid lane. And you're not going to get me to say that, all right? You're not going to get me to say that with the Bolts be the ones playing it. However, if it is Agni in the mid lane, as it should be, he offers a lot of utility, a lot of damage, very safe damage as well. He can just drop bombs over walls.
Mm-hmm.
And his real power comes in the team fight stage of the game. In the one-on-one against the Raijin, might be a little dicey, but he has the ability to just completely interrupt the percussive storm from Raijin every time it gets dropped. So you try to clear the wave before this Agni. Alright, well, you're probably eating Flame Wave plus Noxious Fumes. Good luck with your clear, buddy. We'll see you after that cooldown comes right back up. It just makes it a little bit more difficult for Raijin to do what he wants to do. A little bit further down, Osiris and Ram locked in for the Titans as well. This is a very aggressive dive coming in from the Titans. Osiris, Ratatoskr, Athena all can get very active. You generally will want to leave one of those back, likely Athena, just to help your backline a little bit. But there's so much pressure just in these two picks from Osiris and Rat.
Yeah, seeing Osiris come through is somewhat surprising, only that we haven't seen more of him. You know, received quite significant buffs lately, and they just sort of didn't really make use of it. A lot of players not feeling like this god is quite worth all that they were bringing. So, you know, it's nice to see the Osiris men back to see what they can do, but picking some healing.
Solo instead, so.
I mean, yeah, it might be an Osiris in the mid lane, you know, or like Rat solo, Osiris mid, Raijin jungle. Who really knows? With the way that the games would be.
So why not?
I mean, with the Bolts draft being finally complete, are you more happy or more confident to stake your claim on what you think these gods are playing?
I want to say yes, I really do, but I don't know, man. Like. My instinct tells me, you know, Sun Wukong solo, Pele jungle. This is very standard looking draft. But do I trust it? Do I trust it after what they did to me in game one? I'm going to say yes. I'm going to say I do trust it. I think this looks pretty standard. I like what we're seeing here. Just a little bit of a return to form from the Bolts.
All right, a return to form for a completely standard setup and no spiciness whatsoever. This is Smite on mild as we get on into game number 2, as we will take a peek into both sides and see exactly where these players are playing. And it looks standard, Spooky. You can relax. No surprises this time. This will be Tartarus Titans and the Olympus Bolts giving us a standard 5-on-5 game of Smite.
Here's the thing, though. Bolts now have to win this game, because if they don't, it means they have to go back to their non-standard picks, right? You can't win with the Raijin solo and the Shell of all things, and then lose with this draft, right? BeroTheBeast looked great on the Shell. Now he has a little bit more safety with the mobility from the Path of Flames. Has some very good utility, great teamfight potential, but it's a lot different from the teamfight potential that the Shell has. No longer were you looking at sustaining your team and facilitating that dive. Now you're looking at dropping bombs over walls, setting up for your team, taking out key targets. It's a big switch up, because sometimes it's easier to just aim a big laser beam at your teammates rather than trying to position over walls. But Bolts look so good in game 1. I think they're feeling pretty confident here moving into the second game. They're going to be a little careful, though, about MastKiII on this Ratatoskr. I think that's the big wild card, big X factor for Titans in the early game. So much pressure can come out from this jungle. And once he hits level 5, come from just about anywhere. Combine that with Galadriel, Titans have a lot more ability to get active in this early game.
Yeah, this early game stage might be where they look to establish their lead and take that in a bit better, because there was a solid lead for the Titans in game number 1, but it didn't feel like they were doing a lot with it, not really throwing that weight around. And I mean, we saw it resulted in Olympus Bolts turning over like a 4 or 5k gold deficit pretty easily. So we'll have to keep an eye on what MastKiII wants to do. Can they combine with Galadriel to really work this out? Because, you know, having Duduin on a more solid Sun Wukong means that, you know, solo lane's not really much of a target. And all eyes will surely be on Lode on the Xbalanque.
Yeah, it's just a good target to pick. You can also look at Agni in this mid lane. We haven't seen a lot of junglers like actually try to kill. That's just tragic.
That's EU, baby.
You have 3 people there and you lose it to Terra wall slam. lestimics in some trouble here, though.
Oh, massive trouble. But OtherTheAnother gets stuck in the wall for just a moment. But yeah, that's a super clean pick for the Olympus Bolts. You just walk up, take that. No Lord of the Afterlife for Osiris there. So lestimics a bit of a sitting duck. Didn't recognize the damage potential and falls down for an early first blood.
And that's one of the downsides of this Osiris, right? You don't have any mobility in the early game. You have to wait for level 5 before you have any options to get out of danger. And so if you get ganked early on, there's not a whole lot you can do but try to slow them, try to mitigate their damage, and run away. Unfortunately for lestimics, there wasn't a whole lot he could do on that one. OtherTheAnother just finds the knockups, puts them down, and should get to doing a little bit ahead. More importantly, gets this Pele ahead. That's going to be critical for the Bolts if they want to maintain momentum in this game. Adriel going to try to return the favor, steal something away, but it's going to have to be chased away. Not a whole lot you can do there.
Yep.
So far, Bolts have taken a small lead in this early game. It's not quite the same aggression we saw in game number 1. It's not this death ball where they're the ones initiating things. It's more of a passive play style. Wait and see what the Titans are going to do. See how they're going to respond to that.
Yeah, we did see Galadriel there going for the best impression, trying to steal away that purple buff, but not successful this time. And it is minor attempts here and there, right? Nobody wants to overcommit in this early stage, especially not the Tartarus Titans when they know that post level 5 they're in a really key position. So finally ticking over to that with most of their players just waiting on Galadriel and AicyD. I think then we'll see the trigger being pulled for the Titans, because Olympus Bolts, you know, they've got plenty of good team fight and plenty of good damage with the OtherTheAnother, but not the best engage, and I feel like they'll be the ones again playing as counterpunch style.
Yeah, and it's a very effective counterpunch, right? MastKiII pretty much has to make sure he's jumping onto BeroTheBeast, because if he's not hitting Agni when he drops down, he's absolutely getting stunned. He's just getting a bomb dropped on his head, noxious fumes, and your engage is not going to go so well from there. Problem is, he has to do that through the Darkest of Nights. Lode can also just drop the ultimate when he sees MastKiII going up, buy his team some time, try to create some distance there. It's a puzzle to be sure, but the Titans have an advantage in that they can do this from anywhere. If they drop from out of sight, there's not a lot of options the Bolts have to just counter that out. You can drop the beads. At that point, you are playing a dangerous game. MastKiII can catch just about anyone's dash with his own dart. It's, I believe, the longest dash in the game on the squirrel. The BeroTheBeast isn't just going to be path to flaming to safety. Zhainy is getting collapsed on.
Zhainy collapsed on first, but MastKiII collapsed on after the fact. OtherTheAnother puts out a decent amount of damage, but not quite enough just yet. Bero getting very aggressive, stepping up with those bombs as you'd like to do. So now, the Olympus Bolts go for their first shot. Ooh, dash caught there. That's the beads out from BeroTheBeast. Not sure they were in too much danger there, but, you know, really wanting to play it safe, it seems.
I feel like he could have held on to those now, stepping up a little bit dangerously. Zhainy's going to be right there waiting for him. Lots of damage put out. Bomb doesn't quite connect, but the Taiko drums come through. So does MastKiII. That's a kill for the Titans.
Yeah, I don't think Bero was in too much trouble earlier. There was certainly a lot of trouble after the fact. Didn't respect the damage coming out from Zhainy, the rotation potential from MastKiII. I mean, yeah, if it had beads earlier, maybe it would have gone a bit better. But, yeah, I mean, that's the first kill now for the Tartarus Titans. What you'd want to see from MastKiII, picking that one up as well. Both these junglers hoping to run the shows with their early kills. Eyes will have to be on them to see exactly who can make it work best.
So far, I haven't seen a whole lot coming through from the jungles. We've seen, well, one kill on both sides. Now 6 minutes in, you can tell that the pace of this game is a little bit slower for the Bolts.
Yep.
Much the same for the Titans. They were already taking a pretty slow game in game number 1. Didn't really work out for them, but that was because the Bolts were pushing things. They were testing where they could go. We haven't seen that so far in game 2 here. And you could argue that, you know, they're just allowing themselves to farm up, get to their late game. But with this Pele, I really want to see them try to be a little bit more active. We're only about 7 minutes in so far, so it's not like the window has closed for their aggression. But I would like to see them try to take a couple steps forward. Look for some more invades. Look to try to get anything they can on the map. If they can open up this Golfear for themselves, that'll be a nice step forward. But In the meantime, Titans splitting the map. See MastKiII on those right harpies. Bolts on the left. Also just kind of farming up.
Yeah, everyone's willing to stay relaxed here. Some small aggression on this left-hand side, but nothing major. Hold on, MastKiII gets a stun, but that will
EU
be that. But
things.
something yeah, EU things. Speaking of EU things, lots of stacking items across the board here, unsurprisingly, which might explain why some of this game is going a bit slower than usual. But one thing I wanted to bring to your attention, Spooky, is BeroTheBeast. Bringing in that Tablet of Destinies. Now, you'd mentioned Tablet in the solo lane previously on Raijin. What do you think of it this time, being on the Agni in mid?
I like it in mid lane to an extent. The thing is just how long it takes to actually get it stacked and online. I have to wait. MastKiII invade on that blue buff. Duduin. We making a walk of shame to that one there.
Mm-hmm.
Bero, I think, is going to struggle a little bit to get the stacks just because he's pretty much relying on the Rain Fire to do it. But he does have some more options. It's a big AoE. He can hit pretty much any target he needs to, and he should have plenty of options to make rotations around. Really, you're doing okay there. You're going to be able to find the damage that you need to. It's just a matter of how quickly can you do it and then make rotations after the fact.
Yep, already has a few stacks on there. So maybe even looking into a Book of Thoth afterwards, looking to play this really slow. But playing this quickly is OtherTheAnother dashing into Galadriel. Up to the sky goes AicyD, but down from the sky comes MastKiII. Now there's Lode having to retreat and does so, but not far enough. AicyD finds the snipes. MastKiII finds the tower for safety. Mid lane rotation from both sides coming in. This fight's not quite over yet. Bero coming in, raining fire
Zhainy?
down. Doesn't quite finish off AicyD. There's Zhainy now with those Taiko drums blasting OtherTheAnother, but do they have the damage to finish them off? The Flame Wave comes through, Path of Flames as well, locking them in places. Dutsher, double kill for BeroTheBeast. Fight was going bad, but the bolts turn it around.
I like Tablet of Destinies on BeroTheBeast. Did so much work in that one. Great positioning. A little bit odd from the Titans. They had a really good flank there, but it didn't feel like they played around it. They pushed forward, and Zhainy was kind of left on his own in the back while the Bolts were already starting to try to retreat. OtherTheAnother ends up walking straight into him and says, oh, well, I guess I'll go ahead and take this fight. Now
Whoa.
we're seeing another one come out. Dutsher just goes down instantly. Great ult from Galadriel.
Yeah, good flank coming in there. We see MastKiII lurking around the backside. Just easy pickings there. I think Dutsher may be sticking around a little bit longer than you'd like. Felt safe, but you really shouldn't ever feel safe with a Ratatoskr and an Athena on the board. You know, that's exactly what they're built to do. And yeah, you know, clean that up. It overall, actually, that fight in left ends up being an even trade, all things said and done.
And now 3-3 is the scoreboard. Lode, I think, ends up taking the worst end of things there. Slightly behind AicyD now as a result. I mean, both in gold and the XP department. XP shouldn't be too bad for him. It's really the gold that's going to start making a difference over there. Man, MastKiII just getting so aggressive over there, taking yet another blue buff away from Duduin at a critical time, because you take a look, his mana bar is not doing so hot right now. Titans have been really active around these camps, doing a fantastic job of just trying to mitigate the golden XP that the Bolts are getting so far. And it hasn't created a lead for them yet, but it has made sure that the Bolts aren't getting a whole lot out of this map right now. The Fury on the board, I think it's still going to be a little while before we see either team actually make a play for it.
Yeah, I can understand that. No one on this map has particularly good secure. On top of that, no one has particularly good objective burn either. Probably AicyD, the faster of the two ADCs, but you know, not really willing to step up because Dutsher finds a good flank, but fantastic dashes from both sides. AicyD does burn the beads, and there comes the damage from OtherTheAnother. It's absolutely phenomenal. However, now what does the counter engage look like? Here comes MastKiII with an Athena attached. Galadriel with a triple taunt as well. MastKiII, though, no mana. AicyD, no health to work with. OtherTheAnother dives on deep and finishes off AicyD. MastKiII falls down to Lode as well. This Xbalanque finally getting some payback. Another successful fight in the duo lane for the Bolts.
And how much more can you do there if you're AicyD? Timed his ultimate perfectly to get away from OtherTheAnother. But so much time for himself, put good damage out, created good distance, retreats under the tower. But you got 3 people chasing you, and there's only so much that can be done. OtherTheAnother had a great Aegis to immune from MastKiI's ultimate coming down on top of him, which really mitigated a lot of the counter initiation that the Titans were trying to do there. They weren't able to just blow up that Pele, as they were able to keep their momentum going forward. Lode picks up the kill, which is massive for him. This is now looking a very good game for the Bolts. It's really been good for both sides. 2,000 gold isn't the biggest lead in the world, but it's the biggest one that we've seen in this game so far. The Bolts, if they're willing, and look to try to push this a little bit further. They're now in a position where they've got Executioner online. They can look for this Fury. They've got BeroTheBeast on this Agni. He has got probably the best confirm on the map right now with the Rain Fire, assuming he has 3 charges of it. It's still going to be dicey. They're still probably going to look for the fight rather than just try to push the objective down. But with the way they're grouping, you can see where their heads are at. They want to look for this opportunity.
Everyone's grouping around here on this left-hand side for the Bolt, but the Oracle Vision is in favor of the Titans. Now, it looks like MastKiI's instead opted to go to this right-hand side again, spamming the aggression on this blue buff, but the Gold Fury is already at half HP. Can the rest of the Titans rotate over quickly enough? Galadriel in a very dicey spot, 1v4. Bero go for the secure, but the snipes coming out from AicyD. Not quite enough. Galadriel trying to retreat, but Galadriel nowhere to go. However, coming up through the sky is MastKiII, finds a double knockup. AicyD rolls in. Zhainy as well, firing damage. The Raiju spreads over everyone, but the health bars are too high. Cannot find any of these kills. BeroTheBeast untouched in that fight and walks away happy. Gold Fury and a kill go the way of the Bolts.
Massive W for the Bolts on that one. You walk away with Fury and a kill. Sure, the kill was just onto Galadriel, but you lost absolutely no one for that. It's worth it 100% of the time. Push that gold a little bit further for them. It's still not a massive lead, but it's giving the Bolts some control over this map. They're making the plays. They're finding wins on board. Now opens up the Pyromancer for them. Go ahead and do BeroTheBeast and OtherTheAnother on that one. Lestimics ults down, but it's not enough to secure.
Lestimics ults in, so they're committed to this fight now. OtherTheAnother takes some damage, but Lestimics no mana to work with. Double stun comes out, OtherTheAnother smashing away with the volcanic lightning. Lestimics still trying to trade back, but the Aegis out for OtherTheAnother's great. Galadriel goes for the kill. Lestimics shall fall, but so will Bero. Hold on, Bero coming in. Very low. MastKiII has the defender Olympus on top. A little bit of movement speed coming through as well. Bero falls down. Galadriel with the double kill. Meanwhile, Duduin has picked up Zhainy in the mid lane. Also, it is a 2 for 2, but the Pyro went the way of the Bolts. Can MastKiII turn it into something more? Duduin's too tanky. Dutsher is low, but Dutsher is safe. Galadriel lurking behind as well. Galadriel got a taste for blood and maybe wants some more, but finds himself trapped in their own blood, maybe. Galadriel gets a taunt now, getting slammed down. Can't charge the dash. Duduin comes up massively on the Wukong.
Man, if only the Firemen had been on the camp this time around, Galadriel would not have been a happy camper there. Actually, probably would have gotten out because he would have seen himself be spotted. But all in all, another win for the Bolts there. Even at just 2-2, Bolts come out ahead of that. The fact they pick up Galadriel as well at the end of it, got a Pyromancer, 3 kills. It is very unfortunate for them, though. The BeroTheBeast is someone who fell there because that is shut down gold in the pockets of the Titans. That was probably the biggest target that the Titans could have been looking for. The fact they picked it up mitigates some of what the Bolts got there. You can even see where that gold lead starts actually creeping back up before going back down again. Still, Bolts now have a runic bomb in their pockets. Arrow shouldn't be feeling too bad about that particular death. Gives them a lot of pressure on the map now. Not enough to start looking at Fire Giant. We're only 17 minutes into the game, so don't get excited just yet.
And it's EU.
You know, it's getting there. We're getting there, Judas. But it's showing that the Bolts are now in a spot where they're being more proactive. They're willing to start looking for a little bit more here. As this game goes on, you can expect that to start evolving over time. Stygian Beacon coming up as well. 3 from both sides in the mid lane to contest over it. Hard to fight against this Agni on that, though. Those bombs do so much work.
Yeah, the bombs seem to be about the same size as the beacon, it feels like. When you're the one standing in it and it's raining on you, it feels like there's just no avoiding it. MastKiII having to avoid some damage, but it's relatively low. Nice double taunt there from Galadriel. Means that Zhainy can power through the damage, and another so low. MastKiII wants to give chase, goes through the Cosmos up high, only onto Bero instead. But now coming through with the Defender Olympus as well as Galadriel. Showing up at Dutsher with a fantastic stun onto 2. Look at the health bars in the back, and MastKiII's the one who falls. Out of all of that, BeroTheBeast has about 8 HP to work with. But 8 HP in the dream, that's a kill on the MastKiII.
That's my favorite kind of clip where you just take it at the start and say, who's gonna die? Surprise, it's MastKiII as he's like 100 feet away from Bero, walking off into the jungle. He just dies to tick damage, unfortunately for him. Now the beacon has not been taken. And the Bolts find the kill. That means they're the ones who can step forward first, get back to this beacon, take it for themselves. This stack's going here. One more small win for the Bolts. The fact that BeroTheBeast survives all that is kind of insane to me. Galadriel has been finding some good taunts. Finds 2-man there. It's just that the follow-up hasn't quite been there for every taunt so far. He's been maybe a little too far forward in some situations. I do feel like Zhainy could have probably dropped the taiko drums there and found a lot of success. Didn't catch it, was still on cooldown at the moment, which would explain it. The Titans feel like they're a little bit more hesitant than the Bolts around some of these fights. They're not the ones initiating things. They're allowing the Bolts to step forward and just responding to what the Bolts are doing so far. And in some situations that can work. But with a draft like this, the Titans I'd expect a little bit more aggression from them, because you can't be stepping in to this kind of situation.
Oh, goodness, down goes MastKiII already. Now the chase is on to lestimics, it looks like. The volcanic lightning churning through the health bar. Look at all this flame coming through, but lestimics still marches on. Manages to get past that and leaps over the wall. Will be safe for a moment, but only a moment, because the dive keeps coming in. But there's the Defender of Olympus. Those damage mitigations coming through massively, but OtherTheAnother is still here. And the damage is still so much. lestimics finally will fall. What else can the Titans do in response? So Galadriel now all alone. The taiko drums on the backside still tanking this tower. The rest of the bolts and the snipes come through now. Zhainy comes to sweep up the health bars. Still fantastically low for the bolts, and they still somehow manage to stay alive. But Zhainy comes through. There's the Raijin. There's the double kill from this Raijin. And still hunting for more. Actually gets a good stun. Has to use the beads on the stun from Dutsher, but Duduin nowhere to go. Galadriel sticks around despite no HP, and it is 3 for 1 now. 3 for 2, in fact, because MastKiII fell all the way at the start of that fight, and it's a win this time for the Titans.
All right, guys, listen. I understand the dive at the start, right? Duduin's healthy. You've got Earth and Fury, but once your Terra ult has popped and been triggered and you've gotten the heal, it's time to back out. Olympus Bolts way overstay their welcome under that tower, and that's why things go so badly for them. I was kind of appalled that taiko drums took as long as it did to come out in that fight. Turns out it was worked out very effectively for Zhainy. He actually, I think, only threw out one beat of the taiko drums.
Yeah, I think
saying,
cancel
you
it,
know
right?
what, forget it. I'm just going to thunder crash on this guy. Goes in on Bero, and it is like a domino effect from there. Bero goes down, he falls into OtherTheAnother, falls into Duduin, and opens up a lot on the map for the Titans. They go ahead and get themselves that Pyromancer. It's not the Fire Giant. Health wasn't quite that high. And Bolts do still lead in the gold department, but they got to clean that up. You can't be diving for half a minute and expect to get away with it.
I mean, it says it all that MastKiII died right at the start of that fight and was back alive and actually deflected Lode away from the left side Phoenix, because there was a split push happening that entire time. It was more of a 5-on-4 eventually. And that would be why, you know, AicyD, the damage coming out from the Astral Barrage made all the difference in the end. You know, that rotation decision ended up working out really well for the Titans, but it could have been all right for the Bolts. I think if you pick up the left side Phoenix there, you're pretty much happy with that fight, even if it does go as badly in the end. But not possible. You know, it just took too long for Lode to push all that way down, but now does have basically a full build if you wanted to include the recipe in that. Has actually gone for the Death's Embrace as Lode. So Lode, despite not being involved in the fight so far, looking to really try to brawl it out later on.
He's got his full build coming in. He's gonna see the recipe get sold off here in just a moment. Likely picking up a tier 2 as soon as possible.
Ooh, wow.
MastKiII in some trouble there. Does have a dart though. He's making some space. Oh!
It's gone from some trouble to a lot of trouble. Jukes out the flame wave, though. Can he get over the rain fire somehow? Still alive is MastKiII, despite the tick damage coming out as well. AicyD being chased away. It's a one fight overall for the Bolts, but can't quite clean up the kills. They've done a lot of damage. Now maybe giving themselves some space for this Fire Giant. Now the lestimics is on the scene, has teleported back on in. And it's starting to poke this one down. Fire Giant, half HP. Galadriel goes in with the taunt. The Raijin comes through. Tons of damage on the Dutsher, who's still tanking the Fire Giant and will fall in just a moment. Lestimics goes deep for it. Galadriel showing up with the Defender of Olympus. The Fire Giant does go the way of the Bolts. But what can the Titans do about it? Another now. Trying to juke away. Fantastic movement there. Keeps them safe. Bero so low, but MastKiII can't find the last shot. And MastKiII shall fall. Bero shall live. But AicyD brawling it out with Lode, who wins through. And Zhainy dashing in. Rainfire doesn't connect for the last of the health of Zhainy, but Duduin trying to find the last little bits of shot. Another Rainfire double kill for Bero. Duduin so low. Galadriel and lestimics can't stick around. Fire Giant on 2 for the Bolts, still sticking through this fight. Duduin wants to go for it. Galadriel too. As Galadriel taunts it with the Rainfire, gets Galadriel so low. I've never seen so many low health bars. Lestimics diving deep. Bero surely falls down, and that's a killing spree for AicyD, and the Olympus Bolts get the fire, but lose everything for it.
Oh, it looked so good for them for a moment there. BeroTheBeast surviving the dive from MastKiII and then returning the kill onto MastKiII. Massive play. That was integral for the Bolts to keep things going, but they should have just backed off at that moment, right? Yes, Lode was in a horrible position. He was dead. He was going to die no matter what. OtherTheAnother did not need to ult in. Ends up not finding anything for that ult. And while Bero does do everything he can to make that fight go the way of the Bolts, it's just not enough. By the time lestimics just turns his attention over, this Osiris is so tanky, man. And with the damage mitigations coming from his passive, I mean, Bero doesn't kill him one-on-one. There's just nothing he can do there. The Rainfires were impeccable. Placement was great, but it's just another case of the Bolts trying to take a fight and push it further than they need to. If they just try to disengage with everyone they can after MastKiII goes down, okay, they probably look a little bit better. They still lose members. Like, don't get it wrong. It's still not a clean retreat for them. But they walk out with Fire Giant. Instead, we're back to an even game state. And I do mean even game state. Gold lead is essentially gone. We're reaching the ends of our builds. Fire Giant, null and void here. It's all about these Titans marching down the mid lane now, about the grouping around this. Right now, this is a lot more of an open arena than these jungle fights have been. This does favor the Titans a little bit more. You can't be catching people in small corridors with the rain fires, and you can see the Bolts recognize this. They're allowing that Titan to go down, the Titans to push forward into a smaller space. They can try to use their team composition a little bit more effectively.
Well, the Titan is bearing down on this tier 2 tower, funneling the Tartarus Titans into their aggressive positioning. Now, this Titan will do a lot of damage to this tower. It all depends on what the Bolts can do to deflect it, but it will just be that. They shall fight it away, half HP on the tier 2, but the Tartarus Titans not willing to commit too far, because like you said, Spooky, the fight under that tower benefits the Bolts. The fight in the open benefits the Titans. So both sides opting for their optimal engagement, and optimal for both at the moment is No engagement. Everyone shall back off, reset, get set for this next fire, but still some time to go. What do you do in this phase? You know, if you find yourself no objective on the map, absolutely none. Do you just try to finish off your builds? What would you be discussing if you're in charge of your team here?
Right now, really both sides just need to be farming up. Actually, Titan's going to make an aggressive play, take that tier 1 down, get a little bit more gold. And what was just, a time to discuss the game plan and how to approach this fire giant going forward, I have to worry about, okay, well, are the Titans going to be pushing forward? Are they going to be trying to take our tier 2s? They back off. And it's really all about the next fire giant. That's the only real talking point for these teams right now. And if I'm on the Titans, I guarantee you the name that is being said the most is Agni. Where's Agni? We need to kill this Agni. We need to get him out of the fight. MastKiII saying, well, I can't do it by myself. I have to have someone else there. I tried last time. He's got too much damage. He just stuns me down. They have to figure out who they can put on this Agni. And the easy solution is say, okay, well, Galadriel, ult MastKiII, and we'll just drop down on him at the same time. Should be enough to kill him. Easier said than done. Have to time that well. Make sure you're not just getting beadsed out, dashed, and both stunned. Because if both of you get stunned, and both of you taking the damage from BeroTheBeast, that's not a pretty sight for your team around the fire giant. So are you putting lestimics there instead? Well, if lestimics is going on to Bero, then he's not hitting Lode. He's not keeping Lode out of the fight, which means the ADC is now able to free cast, and he's built crit. He's got the Demon Blade. He's got the Deathbringer. You can't allow this Xbal to just be throwing bolas for free. It's a dicey situation, and it's really a game that just feels like it's a 3-game set. It's so close between both these teams. Any fight can go either way. I don't know. It's tough for the Titans to find a way into this. They know what they need to do. It's just a matter of how do they do it.
Yeah. Bero has been playing really safely and actually has gone for a breastplate in the middle of that build. So has more than enough cooldown. Plenty of cringe in the build. It just means that would be why we saw in the previous fight MastKiII get Bero so low, but not be able to find that kill. It's not just the extra protections, it is also the extra damage, the extra cooldown, being able to dash away twice through a fight. That'll just explain it. So, like you said, it's all about if MastKiII can get some backup to take down Bero. But once you take down Bero, you gotta deal with the rest of the Olympus Bolts.
Or they could just deal with someone at the start. OtherTheAnother gets engaged on. Actually burns the volcanic lightning there, so one tool down for this next fight. Well, looking at things, we really haven't talked about Bero's build too much beyond that Tablet of Destinies, beyond that breastplate. He's got mana for days right now, and that's translating to so much damage coming out of that Tablet of Destinies. Everything there is just built to deal with these tanks, and the squishies take massive amounts of damage. I mean, we don't want anyone to get hit by this rain fire. Duduin, awkward spot there. Half his health bar just gone in an instant.
Yeah, that seems to be the game plan for the Titans. Get a taunt from Galadriel, follow it up with Zhainy, and if the target is good enough and softened up enough, maybe MastKiII and lestimics can dive after the fact. But it's just the front line from the bolts that are getting hit by these little pokes and prods. The back line, so safe. And even OtherTheAnother has been fine. Go back has actually got the Phalanx and the Berserker shield. So the Tartarus Titans are going to actually pull this fire giant. Dutsher's so low already at the start of this fight. Now here comes the taiko drums. But oh my, immediately blown up is Zhainy there. So Galadriel now the focus of this Pele. The damage is great. Galadriel somehow still alive. Don't touch that way, bro. Where are you going? That's only danger. But now the rest of the danger is flowing down this right side jungle. AicyD on the brunt of it. OtherTheAnother is just slamming through this fight. MastKiII on the back only finds Dutsher. Though has to use the beads, now trying to draw the attention of the bolts away. Looks like a reset's coming through, but instead the bolts look at the fire.
Matt, it could have been so great for the bolts, or if I'm sorry, for the Titans, but MastKiII drops down onto Dutsher, leaves Bero alive to just drop these bombs onto lestimics. This fire giant's far from free.
Another very, very low and actually gets leapt on, and lestimics will clean it up as MastKiII cleans up Dutsher. The front line is gone, and the Fire Giant goes the way of the Tartarus Titans. MastKiII with the dart will secure that one away, and it is just lestimics who shall hold it. But most importantly for the Tartarus Titans, nobody on the bolts has this fire.
I just don't understand why the bolts didn't reset before going for that Fire Giant. Yes, 2 were still alive. MastKiII and lestimics were there. They're not going to take the Fire Giant on their own. You can relax, guys. Dutsher was so low going into that. Yes, you got the Terra healing. It's not going to out-heal the Fire Giant damage. It's certainly not going to out-damage Fire Giant and MastKiII damaging you. There just wasn't any front line there to zone lestimics and MastKiII away from that Fire Giant. And it just makes it such a risky call that ends up not paying off whatsoever for the bolts. Now, it's not all doom and gloom. It's not going to be the game ender. It's still only lestimics with the Fire Giant around his waist. That's enhanced Fire Giant. It is something to be worried about going into the next fight. It's both just a little bit rushed, is how I would call that.
Yeah.
They had great setup. BeroTheBeast was able to stay very safe throughout that fight, partly because MastKiII just chose not to dive down onto him. He just chose to go onto Dutsher instead. But they kind of just picked that win up and they said, okay, now let's give one to the Titans.
Let's just give one away a little bit, and let's make lestimics the strongest god on the map. And believe it or not, Spooky, lestimics is still sat here, despite already having the enhanced Fire Giant, still has another power spike left in them. Still missing 3 stacks on that prophetic cloak, 32 minutes in. Means that at some point, lestimics is actually going to get even stronger. And we saw the damage capability of this Osiris onto the OtherTheAnother right there. I know that this Pele was the one tanking the fire, but it would have been okay if not for lestimics just throw in all of these hooks in non-stop. And it does mean that this Osiris needs to be paid attention to. You can't just let this guy walk at you, because he'll do that, and he'll do it very powerfully. But now the tier 2 tower on the left-hand side and mid lane under some pressure from the Tartarus Titans.
Problem is, though, who do you put onto lestimics? He doesn't take damage. Look at the tower. It's tried its best. It's not doing anything to him. It's giving a little back rub. It's all it's really doing. Galadriel finds 2 with the taunt. Another. He's looking to start this one up.
Yeah, they're looking to go in on this. Now lestimics is the target because the Defender of Olympus off the board, having to leap away with the Lord of the Afterlife. Zhainy now having to leap out as well. The chase is good from the bolts. There's a good taunt from Galadriel, but you don't want to be taking this damage at the moment. Tier 1 tower shall fall in mid. Duduin charging forward as a little clone. Tier 2 now under some pressure too. The bolts have just flipped the script right now. Despite the EFG onto lestimics, all of the ults are down, and now they're going back in. OtherTheAnother gets a huge knockup, but MastKiII has to deflect on the left, and somehow the bolts have turned this mid lane push into a mid lane push of their own and walk away the beneficiaries.
Yeah, able to catch lestimics out at the beginning of that and put a lot of damage out into him, forcing the Lord of the Afterlife, where it allows the bolts to step so far forward there. Wise of them to back off now, because there are still 2 ultimates available for the Titans. They try to push that any further, likely ends up with a possible deicide. Rat and Zhainy, both with ults available, can turn a fight incredibly quickly. With Fire Giant coming up as quickly as it is here, you don't want to be taking any spills whatsoever. You want everyone on board so you can get around this pit, get the vision down, try to take some control over the map here. Notably, Oni Fury is also coming up relatively soon. May see a situation where someone tries to split off depending on how this Fire Giant dance goes. Very risky to do so right now, so I would expect that to not come out unless they're really struggling to find any leeway around this pit here.
Yeah, I'm looking at the gold at the moment. We are 35 minutes in, and it's literally 200 gold between these two sides. This is about as even as it can get. The only real difference is there are 2 tier 2 towers standing for the bolts and only the 1 tier 2 for the Tartarus Titans. Not that it matters too much at the 35-minute mark. If you've got an enhanced Fire Giant, those towers are going down fast. So it's all ready, all stable. We saw a bit of this yesterday, actually, in the SPL, Spooky. I believe you were watching along as the Fire Giant Dance comes out for the Dragons and the Ravens yesterday. I wonder how that one went. Hope we're not getting
Over
an hour
is how
plus
that one
game. Hopefully not that for us, unless it's filled with action, but I can't really see that happening. Meanwhile, the action's trying to be pulled by the Bolts because they're the ones looking aggressive.
Say, Judas, if we are in an hour-long game filled with action, I have to wonder what these teams are doing after the action. Like, I don't even know what to say at that point. I'm probably walking away if that's what we end up with. But the Bolts do push the Titans back, now starting up this enhanced Fire Giant. Galadriel goes in, finds the taunt.
Oh, another on the backside, though, straight onto Zhainy, but can't connect with the damage. Now there's MastKiII in the sky. Who will they choose to dunk down on? That is a clone of Duduin. Dunks on the backside, actually. Gets lots of beads up, but the stun is massive from Bero. The snipes come through from AicyD, but the damage isn't quite there. lestimics on the backside. Zhainy puts out damage. Lode manages to take down this Xbalanque. Now Dutsher, nowhere to go, gets locked down. Duduin on the retreat. Fire Giant is poised for the Tartarus Titans to take it. Meanwhile, another wants to go for this mid lane push, but Duduin gets jumped on by Zhainy. Raijin, so strong in this game so far, sends away this Wukong. This might open the door for the Titans to go for this fire. It's not a clean victory, but it's a good enough one.
Yeah, this should be all they need to get on it. These taunts from Galadriel are just destroying the Bolt so far. Constant multi-man taunts, pulling people out of position, setting up for the team. Bero's got nothing to say about this one, cannot get in position. OtherTheAnother unable to secure that mid lane Phoenix, and now enhanced Fire Giant around 4 members, one of which being Zhainy, another being AicyD. This is everyone you want with that Fire Giant. Let's talk for just a second here, just about Zhainy. He is pumping out so much damage right now. He's only behind Bero. He's finished the Titan's Fang, so he's got some extra pen on there on top of the Obsidian Shard. Fully stacked Book of Thoth. Things are just starting to spiral for the Bolts right now. lestimics has finally gotten all his stacks online for that Prophetic Cloak. Incredibly difficult to kill. Bolts have to be very cautious about how they're positioning around the Titans, because if you get caught as a group, it's not just Galadriel who's going to be punishing you for it. It's Galadriel, it's MastKiII, it's Zhainy with the Taiko drums. So much area damage comes out, and the Bolts just have not been positioning effectively to deal with that. Now, as we start to look towards Phoenix sieges, it becomes even more difficult. Those are small areas. Yes, you've got great defense with the Terra, with the Agni bombs, and even Lode, Darkest of Nights, can disrupt a siege very effectively. But it also puts them exactly where the Titans want. It puts them in position to be 2-3-man taunted into a Taiko drums. Things are starting to look a little dangerous. It really comes down to this next push.
It's taken a long time for this push to come through. Actually, not that long left on this Fire Giant, but about 1:20. So this push will have to be relatively quick for the Titans. They don't have a ton of time to work with. It's only about 2 waves worth, mind. So seeing now this first one goes in and not too much doing there. So we'll be all about these next couple of waves. Now, there is an only wave on this right-hand side. That's why we see MastKiII looking for the long split push, who, of course, has that semi-global, which means OtherTheAnother will have to rotate over and be prepared to rotate back to the left lane as soon as possible. But where's the trigger, Spooky? What are the Tartarus Titans waiting for, and when are they hoping to go in?
Well, they're waiting to see OtherTheAnother on the map here, and he's going to try to jump MastKiII coming from behind, going in under the Phoenix. But he pulls Galadriel's ult out?
Pulls Galadriel's ult, so it's just the 3 members on this left-hand side who do pick up this all-important left Phoenix, and somehow all of the Bolts get out safely as well. It's just the 1 Phoenix. I think the Tartarus Titans are happy with that small win. They don't have the time on this Fire Giant to do any more with that. So we'll just be sitting back waiting for this next fire. And we still got a while to go, Spooky. There's more dancing to be had.
If you need more time with the Fire Giant, you just turn it into more time, right? You said it was coming up in about 1:20. So you take the 120, make it in 120. Right? That's 2 minutes right there. 120 seconds.
Yeah.
That's just how you get more time out of your Fire Giant.
That's a good point. Yeah, you've just gained 40 seconds by virtue of formatting.
It's
like
massive.
XL, eat your heart out. Anyway.
No, but it was a great play from the Titans there. I was a little questionable when Galadriel ults all the way over to MastKiII to keep him alive, but I didn't account for how tanky lestimics just is. He could just walk in and eat all the damage that the Titans really need him to, and it still ends up with a Phoenix going down. They just have that much damage with Enhanced Fire Giant on board. Now puts them into a very good position. Fireman is pouring down that left side. Gonna pressure on this mid, see if they can get anything here. It's not likely that they'll find a lot, but depending on how many people answer these firemen and how long it takes them, opportunities can open themselves up. The Titans are being smart about it. They're making sure they're in the vicinity if something happens. And if it doesn't, no worries. They'll pull back, they'll go straight to the Fire Giant.
Fire Giant coming up relatively soon. All waves pushed up in favor of the Tartarus Titans, and the Bolts don't seem interested in stepping up. We did discuss earlier about how the Bolts have an advantage in these jungle fights, but it looks like they've not been really converting those. I think opting instead to take a defense at their Phoenixes rather than contest this fire, because they're certainly not looking to contest with the vision battle. So it looks like they'll just be giving this one up. And I don't know, what's the base defense like for the Bolts? We already saw it didn't go too well on the left-hand side. How will it go later on?
Against EFG, your base defense is never great. It's never looking fantastic if that's what you're going up against. You can put all the tools down. You've got your Agni bombs. You've got some good counter dive from OtherTheAnother. But against the EFG, things shred way too quickly. And the Titans have the ability to just keep continuously pulling back. And look how quickly it falls down. Bolts have to dig their heels in. They've got to pull something out of their hat here and now. lestimics, though, has been such a problem. He just doesn't die anymore, Judas. And he's been the one spearheading the charge. He is why these defenses and these fights are going so poorly for the Bolts, is they cannot stop the dive from the Osiris.
First minion wave walks on in, as does lestimics, just to throw out a little bit of poke. But on the right-hand side, MastKiII pushing up. I believe that's what the Tartarus Titans will be waiting for. The Phoenix didn't even touch lestimics. Like, I actually didn't even take any damage from it. It's just so healthy. But MastKiII and Duduin brawling it out. But MastKiII has a runic bomb and goes through the cosmos to the skies. There's the darkest of nights to dissuade any more aggression from the Tartarus Titans. But the Bolts lose yet another structure. This left side Phoenix coming up soon. Surely falling down soon as well if no one is there to defend it. It's just such a tough defense for the Bolts.
This is looking very grim now. With no Darkest of Nights available, they cannot disrupt this siege when the Titans decide to go back in. MastKiII has no ultimate. Will be coming up before Lodge, though. There is some potential. Right side Phoenix, left side Phoenix goes down in an instant.
Push.
And both, they're going to try to push forward.
The Bolts are going for their Hail Mary. They're diving deep onto Zhainy, but MastKiII finds the backline. There's not a lot of damage coming up.
Oh!
They do group onto AicyD, but the damage for the Taiko drums is phenomenal. But it's still just a one kill in favor of the Bolts, but Duduin shall fall down. lestimics still threatening the rest of the Olympus Bolts, and that does mean they have the tankiness to contend with this fire. Good start out to Zhainy, but Dutsher taunted in. Dutsher takes some more damage. This Phoenix so low, needs one more hit. Can't quite find it. Wow. Can the Tartarus Titans? Bolts live for just a moment. lestimics still wants this, so desperately walks in with a full minion wave. MastKiII goes up. OtherTheAnother taunted back in. MastKiII goes deep and takes down Lodhe. The Titan under so much pressure because another falls down too. Now this mid lane Titan getting shot at. Minion wave on the right-hand side. Galadriel taunt on the Bero. Bero goes down. Double kill for MastKiII. Titans at half HP, and that shall be that for the Olympus Bolts. The Tartarus Titans take this second game. 21 kills to 20. It was even across the board, but finally, the Titans get over the line.
Took them 45 minutes and 7 seconds, but eventually they do cross that finish line, and what a performance. And once lestimics got that prophetic cloak fully online, there's nothing the Bolts could do to stop the dive. MastKiII coming down from the skies, Galadriel finding the taunts. The competition just came together so neatly. The Bolts were not able to push things far enough with their early advantages that they had. BeroTheBeast did great damage. Once you're looking at an Osiris with full passive and a prophetic cloak. Like, what amount of your damage are you actually doing to him at that point? It's not nearly enough. And I liked the last play that the Bolts did. They try to push it a little bit further. They try to just get aggressive, try to wipe where they can. They saw MastKiII was on that left side, use the numbers advantage, took down AicyD. Zhainy, man, he just swings so much damage out, and he was untouched in so many of those fights.
Zhainy on the Raijin. It was Duduin on the Raijin previously as well that won this game.
Time to go back.
It seems to be all about who can get the Raijin. Yeah, run it back, Duduin, run it back. We'll see exactly how they try to run it back in this third game. We're going to go for a quick break, then don't go anywhere, because we'll find out who wins game number 3.
I still remember how it used to be, holding hands, running wild and free. Crossed our hearts, said we'd never let go. I still think about our younger days, how we dreamed about a better life, holding you so close to me, in the backseat of your ride. We fell apart, thought we lost everything, just lost in a memory. And I sure hope you do remember me like I remember you. Like I remember you. Like I remember you. We drew our names in the pavement, thinking about how we never changed. I still remember how it used to be. I still think about our younger days, how we dreamed about a better life, holding you so close to me, in the backseat of your ride. We fell apart, thought we lost everything, just lost in a memory. And I sure hope you do remember me like I remember you. Like I remember you. Thought we lost everything, just lost in a memory. And I sure hope you do remember me like I remember you.
Holding tight while it lasted. I thought that we were forever. I didn't know any better. Took a second chance, trusted you again. I feel shattered. Broken strings, cause you play me like a violin. Shame on me for all your 7 deadly sins. Had it all, but you craved attention. Drowning in your own reflection. Put me down just to see me get back up again. 6 feet under and you're ready to give all the pain. If I was your new addition, you make me part of your equation. Shattered from the past, wish you were my last. Shattered me to pieces like broken glass. we took back in the summer. I thought that I would remember how we used to feel, but this isn't real. Now we're over. Take it all, there's nothing left here anyway. We used to talk, but now we don't know what to say. Now we're just two passing strangers. We tried, you lied, goodbye forever. Put me down just to see me get back up again. 6 feet under and you're ready to give all the pain. If I was your new addition, you make me part of your equation. Shattered from the past, wish you were my last. Shattered me to pieces like broken glass. Got wandering eyes that I seem to follow. Can only stay still for some time. I've never aligned with the city's.
All right, everybody, we are back for game number 3 between the Tartarus Titans and the Olympus Bolts. The Bolts took down game number 1 in nice, clean fashion. Game number 2 was all about the Tartarus Titans. Eventually, in a 47, I think, minute game, very long, fought and long, drawn out. 45, cool, close enough.
47.
But a plenty long game. Ruled out eventually by lestimics on this Osiris. But Spooky, if you are the Olympus Bolts, you won game 1 with something a little bit weird, having Duduin on the Raijin solo. You lose game 2, going back to a more standard draft. For game number 3, do you try and redo the standard, which went quite well for the most part in game number 2, or do you think you have to bring out something a little bit strange?
Now, I think they can just rerun a normal draft, right? I think if they put BeroTheBeast onto Raijin, things go absolutely crazy for them. Do I think they will do that? No. No, I do not. I think we're going to see something spicy come out. I think we're going to see some interesting picks. Well, maybe that's just what they need to do. Maybe that's just more comfortable for them. Maybe that's what they've been practicing with, and these standard compositions are just too boring for them to engage the neurons.
Maybe the Olympus Bolts will thrive in the storm of chaos that they are bringing out in this first picks and bans, or the third picks and bans, I should say, for this first set of the day. It's been pretty standard across the board picks-wise. There's been a lot of general meta picks. You know, we've seen the Sun Wukong, Raijin, Pele. Surprisingly, not seen any Amaterasu. I believe it was banned in game number 2. But is there anything that stands out to you as being a meta pick that has maybe been avoided so far today?
I mean, most of them have been getting picked up or banned away. Obviously, the Chernobog has not been allowed through. Ares, not been allowed through. When Athena comes up, get that picked up right away. We haven't seen a whole lot of the Thor, which, understandable. He's kind of dropped off a little bit since Pele came up. It's mostly been Ratatoskr and that Pele that you've been looking at more than the Thor overall, if you want those semi-globals. The Squirrel's just offering a little bit more in the early game and a lot easier to execute on. And Wukong also banned away this time, so you're going to see a little bit of variety here. Some Achilles coming out. I'm so nervous, Judas. Like, look. Expecting something off the wall here in the first pick, and I'll have no idea where it's going.
Look, Raijin banned out. Wukong banned out. That means Duduin has to bring something else to the table.
Ares is up.
Ares is up, but is Ares top pick worthy? Anhur
Absolutely.
instead being the Bolts' choice here, opting to leave that pick to go. I think maybe you can't pick Ares because of how we've seen lately with Ganesh being so strong, and you combine that with the Absolution, just means that Ares has been pretty much irrelevant. And there we go, there's Ganesh being locked in already from the Titans, so I can see why they run with that, and Osiris being run back as well. Not too surprising, lestimics had such a phenomenal game.
Ares solo.
Why?
Oh, wait a second. Wait, hang on. Wait.
What did you say?
I wasn't serious about that.
What was that?
Wait.
The dude's like, all right, bro, bet. I'm taking it.
Your enemy is here.
Spooky shall speak in, and the E-Shell. You know what? What about Ares and E-Shell in the solo lane?
Both of them. You want to just turn that into the duo and leave Anhur on his own?
No, it's still the solo lane. It's just like 2 people in the solo lane.
I mean, I think that just automatically turns it into the duo lane then. Like, once you put 2 people over there, it could be an Anhur mid even, if we're really talking about things here. Actually, this might be a hot take. I actually like Anhur mid. I think it's actually pretty fun. Go the Transcendence, go ability based. I think it actually has some decent potential here. But Ratatoskr comes back to MastKiII in the jungle. No surprise there.
Yep.
Once again, we're seeing a lot of the same from game 2, Ganesh being the big switch up for the Titans. Bolts, meanwhile, kind of doing their own thing, playing their own tune. We have seen the Anhur from them before. We've seen this E-Shell, and it did do well. Wouldn't be super surprised if we maybe saw the set come back. The E-Shell set combo was very good at sustaining those dives. I'm picking up the board. Have to see what they do decide to go for. It's hard to say what they're still looking for, really.
It's hard to tell what is open because we don't know exactly where these 3 gods are playing. Now, I will note that the Titans have been banning away this Ares from Dutsher in the first phase every single time. Now, this time gets left open and has been picked up, so I presume that will be Dutsher picking this up, and I think it's something that the Titans were concerned about, you know? Interesting to see the Chang'e be banned away, though. Like, I know Duduin potentially could bring something out, but Chang'e, is that really the one? We did see Deathwalker play that, I believe, yesterday. So maybe it would come through, but I don't know. I think what the Bolts are really lacking is something big and powerful to really combine with this Ares.
I think they get rid of the Chang'e, 1, because it does combine with that Ares. 2, it gets out of Ganesh and Ratatoskr for pretty much for free. But still look maybe for Thor, Thanatos combine on top of the Ares. Could look for something that pulls bees like the Daji as well. Set up for your Ares a little bit better that way. There's also a world where E-Shell goes solo or jungle herself, possibly even support, and we see maybe an Agni come out once again for Bero. That combines with the Ares very effectively. That's not really what I was thinking of the Zhainy. I like the Daji. I love the Daji. The Thor makes a lot more sense. Yes, thank you. Thank you for not going back to the Zhainy. I've seen too much of that guy, and really not enough results so far. This rounds out the Bolts draft. Does indicate to me E-Shell in the mid lane. Thor probably going over to the solo as well.
Okay,
So
everyone, time for
there's a
some
world where someone just does Thor support, and I don't like that world.
I mean, if anyone's to do it, it would be the Bolts here.
It would
Show
be
that
the
they
Bolts.
can bring some spice. I think it looks fairly standard, if at least a little bit not quite what the general meta has been. You know, we've seen nobody playing E-Shell. You know, a lot of people consider E-Shell to be too easy to shut down and to just ball on top of. And Ratatoskr Osiris does that phenomenally well. You combine this with a Scylla, E-Shell basically never gets near a Scylla. I think it's going to come down to a lot of these mid laners. Both games have been very mid-centric, and I think it'll be a lot on exactly who can really pull it off a bit better.
On one hand, we've seen results from the E-Shell. On the other hand, we've also seen really good results from Bero on something more damage-oriented, something that nukes targets down. I don't know. We'll have to see how this ends up pairing together. But, I mean, if it's tried and true, you might as well try it again.
Tried and true. Let's see how it sees them through as we enter into game number 3 between the Bolts and the Titans. Again, expecting this to be a fully standard arrangement, no one out of position, and they are not. Everyone lines up pretty much where, well, exactly where we would expect them to be. But is there any side here that you think particularly is favored, either in the early or the late stage? Because both of these games so far, game number 1 and game number 2, have gone to this later stage. So would you expect that to be the same case this time around?
I personally would, and the later this game goes on, the more I tend to favor the Titans. They've got Zhainy on the Scylla, who, as everyone knows, scales extremely well into the late game. Free power, free extra effects on all of her abilities. AicyD on Hachi is just going to be very effective. And we already saw how problematic lestimics can become if he's allowed to get to that late game point. On the other hand, I think the Bolts have a little bit more going for them in the early game. Between OtherTheAnother, Duduin, and Bero, there should be some aggression there. Lodde on this Anhur is on one of the better early game ADCs, so you've got some fight over there. Combine that with Dutsher, there is some kill potential across the board. As long as the Bolts are mindful of where MastKiII is at and not allowing this Ratatoskr to exert his early pressure in a counter rotation, they should be able to find some kind of advantage in this early game.
It's all about if Dutsher can land those chains. And I've seen Dutsher play plenty of times, and trust me, Dutsher can land those chains. But will it happen in this game? OtherTheAnother and Bero just opting to play this one peacefully. Lodde, unfortunately, off the mark there with the Impale. Galadriel would have been in some major trouble
Way to put it.
if that one would have come through. Yeah, a bit of a whiff coming out, but, you know, early signs that Galadriel is willing to re-aggress. Of course, Ganesha, one of the slower starters of the support. So it's almost a recipe for disaster for the Titans dueling, because Dutsher on this Ares and Lodde on this Anhur so strong early on. Galadriel AicyD maybe leave a lot to be desired.
Other makes an early rotation over, make sure that this shield buff does go down for the Bolts here. Make sure the Titans don't have a chance to get any farm there. And while that shield buff does go the way of Bolts either way, this rotation basically allows him to look for a gank if an opportunity presents itself. Also make sure the Bolts don't have to actually leave that lane to pick it up, so they don't lose any pressure to get that shield buff for themselves. They're able now to just keep exerting onto the Titans, and this could potentially lead them to invade this next purple buff that spawns here. Very good start for the Bolts. So far, it's about what we expect from their draft.
Yep, good start, and like you said, an expected good start. I do wonder when the Titans will grow into this game, you know, with lestimics showing that Osiris can be extremely powerful, but really needed a lot of time to have that sort of impact. You know, we're talking 20 minutes plus before lestimics was really shining. However, MastKiII on the Rat, shining pretty much from like level 5-6 stage when they're able to find some of these ultimates, but no Athena to combine it with this time. You know, that was something that was particularly strong from Galadriel, showing up exactly when needed. But Ganesh does a pretty good job if that fight happens where Ganesh already is. You know, Ganesh will struggle to keep up with MastKiII. So it all depends on how organized this Titans comp can be, because if it's not coming through perfectly, it's going to be a tough fight early on.
lestimics and Zhainy are the late game pieces, right? AicyD as well, just on account of being a hunter, but that's pretty standard. Galadriel and MastKiII are your transition pieces here for the Titans, right? MastKiII has the early game pressure, has the ability to rotate around. Galadriel with the Dharmic Pillars is always going to be useful. He's just a good god. So you're really relying on these two to kind of not carry your early and mid game, but to facilitate it and make it bearable for your late game carries here. AicyD is going to be relevant pretty much at all stages of the game, so you've got that extra piece there you can move around the board as you need to. Bolts, though, they really feel like they're going to struggle the later this game goes. They've put some great pieces down for this early game and the mid game, but once Zhainy is level 20, once lestimics is getting multiple prot items online, OtherTheAnother isn't going to be able to kill people very easily. You're playing into a Ganesh. You want to go for the 1,000 lashes? too bad. You're just sitting there in
Just the one
silence.
lash.
Just the one. Maybe if you're lucky, you get the one off. Trickster Spirit gets shut down. You're really relying on the powwow to pull a lot of the weight, pull the beads out. There's also a lot of CC immunity on the side of Tartarus Titans, right? There's lestimics, MastKiII, Zhainy, AicyD. The only one you can reliably get is Galadriel as the blink comes out from Dutsher, knocked up. Bolts traded.
And that's kind of that. The ults get traded. For a few sides, Galadriel actually holds on to those dynamic pillars. The mounted archery is just so safe early on. Like, Dutsher doesn't even go for that no escape either, because, it's just not going to work. So, understandable there. But, another blinks in onto MastKiII. That has to be a lot of chains, a lot of damage. MastKiII with the tracing line connected to them. Dutsher tries to track it on, but cannot. Nothing too much coming out yet. Like, understandably though, right? I don't think if you're Dutsher, you want to use that no escape until it's pretty guaranteed that you're going to pull a set of beads. You're never getting the pull, but you might as well get at least something more than an ultimate.
Yeah, at that point, both dual laners have beads. AicyD was already up into the mounted archery, so you know that that's not going to be pulling anybody. And then what's your follow-up? Lode's already expended the Desert Fury, so it's not going to be bursting Galadriel down. Makes the call, saves it. It's the right decision there. Problem is, where is the point where he can just go for it? Unless you have OtherTheAnother in your lane, holding beads with the powwow, you're not likely to get really any good opportunities. And with Galadriel being your primary target for a lot of this, see nice. Traded once again. Lode does secure the purple buff for himself. Dharma Pillar's not stealing that one away. There's now one more tool down for the Titans, and Dutsher may look for an opportunity here. If you can land an Impale to force the beads out of AicyD, that's probably your best option for setting up for Dutsher right now.
Yeah, I think you need to be engaging if you are Dutsher. Like I said, when either those beads or that mounted archery is already down, because an Ares ult just traded out for another ult is not a good thing at this stage, because there's just no real way for the bolts to get aggressive to make up for that. It's something that comes in handy later on in these fights, but instead it's more about these little skirmishes around, for example, the shield buff. Now, Galadriel going to get chained a little bit, but OtherTheAnother cannot close the distance enough, and that's just how it's going to be for the bolts at the moment. The Tartarus Titans do not need to fight, and if they don't want to fight, they can just do that. They can march on out whenever it happens, and I don't know what you do if you're the bolts to get around that in these early stages.
Yeah, I want OtherTheAnother to hold on to that moment he just had there. I want him to hold on for a while, because he got 2 lashes off there. That was probably the most he's going to see from that ability for a little while here. It was like you said, there's not a whole lot of opportunities for the bolts to actually get aggressive. Their composition works as a 5-man unit, but until you get all 5 pieces firing together, it's not creating any real opportunities for itself. BeroTheBeast isn't going to be really destroying this mid lane on this Isho, probably not making any big rotations until you can get Duduin diving in, powwow pulling people in, and then you can use the great end on whoever they've gone on to and set up for you. Now you're finding some success, because now you're getting the damage and the healing off on your divers. That's really your best case scenario for the Isho. It's going to take a while before Duduin can actually leave this lane and get active, especially all the way over into this duo side. That's clear opposite side of the map for him.
Whoa!
Oh, that was a good play from OtherTheAnother.
That was nice. Goes for the 1,000 lashes, gets all 4 off, but doesn't actually connect with any of them. And that will be that for the time being. But I think I've just found the signal of intent from the Tartarus Titans, although hold on, AicyD may be in some trouble. Here's the Desert Fury, combined with the mounted archery to escape, and Dutsher does not want to go for the no escape yet again, but Galadriel avoids that impale just by being there, and MastKiII gets the small win. And that, I think, will be that for the Titans. But I think I found the signal that the Tartarus Titans not looking to get aggressive just yet. There's Galadriel picking up a very early Chalice of the Oracle, just looking to make sure that this Ares does not catch anyone off guard.
Yeah, that'll pretty much guarantee you're not getting too active. It's a big gold investment this early on into the game. Now, granted, he does already have the Gauntlet of Thebes built, so he is getting stacks for that. That's going to be not gold coming into his pocket, but stats coming into his pocket either way. He's got a little bit of time to work with that. Titans have a very long game they're playing for. Beads forced out from Lode as well. And what should be the aggressive lane on the Bolt side is really kind of just sitting here and treading water, getting pushed back, getting invaded. The Titans are more than happy with where this game is at right now. But here's the thing, Judas. Pretty much every time we've seen a lead in this set, it has gotten flipped by the other team.
That's
Titans
true.
are starting to build up a slight gold lead. They've got pressure on the map. Question is, how long will they maintain that? Will they slip up? Will the Bolts make one of those plays where they find a mistake that the Titans have done and just punish it? Nothing is set in stone, and just because the Titans are looking good right now and have a good transition period doesn't mean it's all over. Well, except maybe for Lode.
Oh, Lode no beads, and I don't think any Desert Fury either. Has to leap away. Does have the ultimate now, but cannot find any damage with it. MastKiII picks up the first blood, but OtherTheAnother now looking for the chase. Gets a hook onto Galadriel, who does get pulled in. Is there enough damage? Because BeroTheBeast has shown up. That's a good stun, though, from MastKiII, but another no escape. Fantastic. Into the great end. Finally, one will fall down for the Tartarus Titans, but AicyD drawing it out with BeroTheBeast. There is the I'm a Monster. Connects onto Dutsher, trying to find the chains onto AicyD. AicyD low, but Bero is lower. A triple kill for MastKiII. Diving even further forward. Dutsher nowhere to go. No Quadra, because Zhainy says, I want some of the action too. But the game explodes into life with a 4-for-1.
Man, what a fight just exploding for the Titans there. That is big for Zhainy as well. Picking up a kill, gets himself a little bit further ahead. Bero does pick up 2 for himself, but if I'm choosing between do I want an East Shell that's ahead or a Scylla that's ahead, I'm taking the Scylla every single time. Anytime you get more gold onto this character, more levels. Ooh, she's already 2 levels up, by the way. That is a massive lead for this Scylla. This is becoming problematic for the Bolts. Now, I just did say it's not over till it's over. There's still plenty of comeback potential in this game. But that was probably the best look we've had for the Bolts so far. And it didn't go well. I'm a Monster took out a huge chunk of Dutsher's health bar. You can see already upwards of 500 damage from that ultimate alone. This looks a little bit dangerous. Bolts have to be a little bit more cautious, a little bit more aware of where these rotations are coming in at as we fight over this beacon.
And the last thing you want, as in Ares, is to be told you have to be cautious. That's not what you want to do at all. You want to be throwing your weight around and getting aggressive. You can see Dutch is still unwilling to give up this beacon. Of course, has some sustain coming up from Bero as well. But MastKiII and Zhainy have tons of poke. Dutch is just standing here facing the gauntlet right now. I feel like a monk with a blindfold on, dodging logs as everything's flying up. But MastKiII goes for the bigger fish of Bero, but the Iron Monster doesn't quite connect. Look at the healing coming up from Bero in the great end. Just about enough. Exploding to life again with the Tartarus Titans, but it will at least net them a beacon.
Yeah, Zhainy just ever so slightly off the mark with the I'm a Monster. Could have probably killed both of there, but MastKiII makes another rotation on to OtherTheAnother. Paolo comes out, chains come down, pulled in, MastKiII goes down.
Lode gets that kill. Can they get the retreat afterwards? Zhainy throwing the weight around that this big Scylla shall have, but it will not be enough. Disengage is good from the Bolts. They do manage to get a lot out of AicyD as well. No beads for the moment, but more importantly, no mounted archery now. So plenty of opportunities for the Bolts to make a fight back into it. And the gold lead has really diminished after that big moment. The Tartarus Titans felt like it was going well, but already it seems, Spooky, this lead's starting to flip.
The lead is not establishing itself very strongly in the gold department. More important right now is the XP lead, which is about 2,000 still in favor of the Tartarus Titans. And that's so integral. And I'm going to keep saying it's because of this still. The more levels you get is just more power in that mid lane. The closer the Titans reach late game, the worse it's going to be for the Bolts. this is not a team that the Bolts should feel comfortable scaling up into. Because we've already seen how effective they can be in the late game stages of the fight. Now Lode is just a target for the Titans consistently.
Oh man, Lode just nowhere to go, burns the Aegis, but doesn't get any value from it! Perfectly placed Dharmic Pillars lands right on top of it, does Lode. And it's normally Anhur doing the impaling, but this time, Galadriel on the Ganesh shows him how it's done.
Nah, he just placed it right under his feet during the jump. I feel so bad for Lode. But I mean, that's what happens. The Bolts have been playing very passively. They haven't been really searching for any big plays. It's the Titans who are on the move right now. This four-man rotation, they want this Fury.
Going straight on to OtherTheAnother is AicyD. Mounted archery in, so AicyD's in this fight, as is MastKiII diving through this. The crush coming out. The damage is close, but OtherTheAnother survives for a moment through the Cosmos. Goes MastKiII, but has to retreat. They don't manage to secure that kill onto the jungler, but a lot of damage still coming back. Galadriel, low health, has to retreat. Dutsher really wants to hit some big abilities. The good end comes through, and Galadriel shall find their end. And finally, after a big over-aggression from the Tartarus Titans, the Olympus Bolts answer back.
And this actually opens up the Fury for the Bolts. The Titans made the play looking for an opportunity for themselves, but instead, the Bolts flip this one around. MastKiII is in the area, though. Keep an eye out. AicyD and Zhainy on the move.
Well, the Bolts do secure their objective, and AicyD now no mounted archery to escape. OtherTheAnother's flying away, but there is the I'm a Monster, doesn't quite connect. OtherTheAnother still diving, but a big crush comes back. Now an Aegis Samuel from Lode is great, and that will take down Zhainy. So the Gold Fury and a couple of kills to follow up. The Bolts really starting to swing.
Man, Zhainy has just not been on point with these I'm a Monsters. You've seen 2 of them hit so far, and they weren't on the intended target. They have both been on Dutsher. Now Bolts take a slight lead back in their favor, pushing things back their way. It's a pendulum game here, Judas. It swings one way. You can be sure, if nothing else, it will swing back the other in time. It's just a matter of where that pendulum ends up at the end of the game here. Titans losing a bit of their ground, but not losing any of their momentum. They're still on board. They're still moving around this map. Pyromancer, likely the next objective to be looked at here. We're 17 minutes into the game now. Neck and neck. So far, the XP lead has shrunk as well. Everyone's on even footing. Galadriel has made up for the investment into the Chalice. Certainly. Really, everyone's fighting and vying for any kind of lead. And that seems to be what's costing them every lead that comes up, Judas. You try to push it a little bit, and you overstepped. MastKiII didn't need to dive that deep under a tier 1 tower, especially if it's OtherTheAnother who's just going to get out with a Trickster Spear anyway. It just feels like everyone's a little bit too aggressive. They're trying to push things a little bit too far because they're struggling so much to get these leads.
Oh, man. But Galadriel feeling the brunt of the aggression. There's the Paolo, doesn't even need the pull, but MastKiII goes on the backside. Are they aware though of OtherTheAnother hooking them right in, but actually to safety. Now there's Zhainy hits an I'm a Monster onto OtherTheAnother. In the air goes Duduin. Will not find a key target though. Lestimics has shown up as well to play defender in lieu of Galadriel being alive. It looks like this will just be a Pyromancer. Let's see what the Titans have to say about it.
Bero is just a terror on this E-Shell. I mean, I was doubting it so hard in game 1, but it's showed it massively here. Zhainy takes a big chunk of damage, has to walk away from this one. Iron Man's still being looked at. He's in the area. It's not free, but it's a hard defense.
Going to be a very tough defense, but the sustain from Bero is fantastic
Zhainy?
here. Blinking forward is OtherTheAnother onto Zhainy, who will survive, but be very, very low in the process. Lestimics still looting around, as is MastKiII. The retreat, it seems, is the call from the Bolts. The Pyromancer proving too tough of a target, and the Tartarus Titans shall remain in the ascendancy, not giving away too much other than just a kill onto Galadriel.
Sorry, is Beacon actually still up right now as well?
Yep, still there. Everyone's just chilling around it. I think.
We just have not taken anything. We had Galadriel and AicyD right there by the beacon, and they did not step on it, did not even try to take that one. So now Bolts should be able to secure that for themselves. No, they're going to walk away from it as well because the Pyromancer gets started up and taken down by the Bolts as well.
Oh, fantastic.
Whoa.
Dharmic Pillars locks OtherTheAnother in place. Great end to heal from long range, but MastKiII waits, bides their time, but does not connect with the target. Lestimics diving deep, driving straight onto Bero, but a fantastic route shall keep them down. But MastKiII loops around the front side, gets the Aegis out of Lodhe, and gets all the damage they need to. Now can MastKiII retreat? Dutsher gets a good pull. Duduin gets the kill. Lestimics now are facing the ire of this Duduin, but Galadriel can run through walls, feeling safe, because over on the left-hand side, AicyD has been split pushing this entire time. It's a good fight for the Titans, but it is 1-for-1 overall.
Load for MastKiII. Not sure that it's really worth it either way. Bolts do come ahead at the end of that because they did get the Pyromancer as well. I believe they also got the Stygian Beacon, finally. Okay. Again, it's just a little bit over-aggressive. MastKiII had very good patience there. He waited up in the through the cosmos for so long, which, sure, he probably could have just dunked straight down and killed OtherTheAnother, but he saw Duduin in the air. He knew that if he goes down and OtherTheAnother doesn't instantly die, he dies for free because Duduin just lands on his head, turns things around immediately. So he buys his time, waits for Duduin to land before he tries to look for that kill. Doesn't end up really finding it. OtherTheAnother gets out. They trade out. Lodhe dies. MastKiII still ends up dying, but at least he makes it a 1-for-1 in that case instead of just dying 0-for-1. And even at the end of that, still pretty much an even game. Yes, Bolts do lead by under 1,000 gold right now. It's not enough to feel confident stepping up to these objectives. It was a great play sneaking that Pyromancer away from the Titans. But now you're looking at Oni Furies. Now you're looking at potential Fire Giants coming up. We're 21 minutes into this game. These objectives are not super easy to take down. And if the enemy team shows up, you've got a fight on your hands. The question is, who can get the better position? Who can pull that button first? And right here in the mid-game, at this 21-minute mark, before everyone's reaching level 20, this is where the Bolts are probably at their strongest. They've got the Duduin active on the map, can come down from just about anywhere, matches the rotation from MastKiII. OtherTheAnother and Dutsher can combine ult very effectively. Once all these gods start hitting level 20, Zhainy is the big talking point.
Zhainy's who OtherTheAnother once goes into the Imo Monster. There's the 1,000 Lashes, fantastic Aegis, but the Powwow, if they can find the shot, can't, misses all three. Now OtherTheAnother decides to go in anyway. Fantastic, but the beads are great. Instead trades out their life, OtherTheAnother for Zhainy. Now what does that mean for this Primal Fury, the Oni Fury? Because that is the major secure off the map with the Imo Monster. Lestimics pushing up. It's a 4-on-4 on left, but the Bolts don't seem keen to fight.
Yeah, Bolts should not be trying to fight this one. OtherTheAnother is down. Sure, they took out Zhainy, but they don't want to take an even fight around the Oni Fury. The Fury will just be dealing damage to them. Titans can easily take advantage of that. And with less dive on the Bolts side to keep the Titans off, it's just not worth going for that. I want to call out Zhany's great placement of that crush, too, because he puts it down in front of his tower, forcing OtherTheAnother to go deeper into the tower if he wants to come down from that powwow and chase that kill. Force him to take so many tower shots, forces the beads out as well. Sure, Zhainy goes down, but they've now put themselves in a much better position to approach this next Fury. Because there's powwow will be coming up, but there's no beads, no blink on OtherTheAnother right now. And that is a big opportunity window for the Titans.
Yeah, it's where, like I mentioned, these objectives are at risk for the Bolts. The Crush Imo Monster is by a country mile the best secure on the map. Now that doesn't mean it's guaranteed by any means, as we have seen in the past, but it does mean that you would expect. I'm giving you some flashbacks there, right? But it does mean that Zhainy is always going to be the question mark for the Bolts. If the Bolts want to pull an objective, it's where's Zhainy? What's Zhainy's status? Do they have bees? Do they have their ult? MastKiII having to burn their ult, having bumped into some dangerous targets in the tower, in the jungle. But you see now, grouping on this right-hand side, the Bolts want to pull it, but they're not sure where Zhainy is, so they can't commit either way. But it will be a pyro, at least for the Bolts.
And that's going to be a little bit more gold in their pockets. Get a runic bomb. That's 2 for them now. So it gives them a little bit of secure to drop around this Oni Fury. Not enough to contest I'm a Monster and Crush, but it's something for them. Most important, they're making plays on the map. They're not just biding their time around this Fury, wondering, are the Titans going to show up? Can we make something happen? Do we have an opportunity to take this? No, they're forcing the Titans to be somewhere, and then just doing something on another part of the map. They're trying to be proactive. That's what you have to do at this stage. They're pushing that lead a little bit further. Still not enough to write home about, but they're still trying. They're pushing things where they can. And every time they make a play like that, it's an opportunity to break this game a little bit more open for themselves. They're putting cracks in the shell, and it's just a matter of time until the hammer drops and we see something actually explode in this game. Galadriel being targeted out as the beacon comes up. Again, Bolts just feel dancing around these beacons so much.
What I've really liked from the Titans, and this is maybe what the Bolts are being wary of here, going for this dance, is Titans look like they're not going to get aggressive, and then in an instant, they flip the switch and suddenly are all in on you. And I think if you are a member of the Bolts and you're seeing this grouping around the beacon, you're just going to be fearful of that. But the only fear you're going to get burned in a moment as the Frenzy gets popped as well from Galadriel. So that was an easy take. Big objective off the map. Yeah, who needs it? You don't even need to secure it if you're just going to burn it that fast. And Bolts need to be a bit more aware of that. They're still equaling gold, but now they've got these Oni waves to contend with.
It's really good of them to burn that Frenzy and shred that Fury so quickly, too. Because 26 minutes in, if you get caught at the Fury, it's not a hard call for the other team to say, okay, well, if they're all going to be over there, let's go ahead and just start at the Fire Giant. And I think that's why Zhainy holds on to everything as well.
Yep.
So that if they do make that rotation and they find the Bolts are on top of this Fire Giant, they still have secure. They have a way to force that Fire Giant either into a neutral state or steal it away. Excellent discipline from the Titans. lestimics hit a little bit of a doozy here.
Ooh, in some trouble, but there's the parallel coming up. Can it connect? Yes, it can, but not going to get the pull. Duduin goes deep, but Galadriel's there with the silence. It will just be a tier 1 tower at the moment. Sustain coming out from Bero has been phenomenal so far as well. It's making such a big difference in these fights, because what would be, a risky health bar for Duduin just means that, they're a little bit weak. They'll be totally fine in a few seconds. MastKiII instead opting to split the map open, but this means the right side's vulnerable for the Titans.
It is vulnerable, but there's only so far you can go with these Titans, especially with MastKiII pressuring like that. This tier 2 should be absolutely fine. AicyD is over there. He's going to be able to shred this Titan down. You've got minions to keep it occupied. You take a look at that left side as well. You got minions pushing down for the Titans over there. That tier 2 is also in a little bit of trouble. MastKiII may just make the rotation, take that as well, but you can't go too far. The Fire Giant is on the board, 27.5 minutes into the game. If you show up on that left side, you can bet the Bolts who are already over here and start making a play for that. Titans are wisely keeping some pressure around that pit, though.
And not surprisingly, this is the first week of the EUSCC. Nobody wants to go down in the first game. You want to get off to a winning start. Someone has to. Absolutely nobody wants to. At least you'd assume. So we're going to have to keep an eye on who will make the mistake or who will be brave enough to make the big play. Now, we've seen Tartarus Titans were around most of the last phase, so you'd expect it to be one of them and maybe a veteranship call, but Olympus Bolts, no slouches themselves, certainly looking to contend. This is a cheap Pyromancer goes the way of the Tartarus Titans. We're into that dancing phase again, Spooky, where no one's really able to pull the trigger.
They're not, but Titans have just quietly obtained about a 3,000 gold lead. Just not really doing anything in particular, just getting themselves a Fury, getting themselves a Pyromancer, getting some towers down. MastKiII pays ult for ult with OtherTheAnother there. I'll allow Anth through the Cosmos now, down for the count. MastKiII, he's not resetting. He's got a chunky heal there. What? He's full health.
I mean, yeah, it's Soul Eater things, just heals up immediately off of one camp, and there you go, full health right now. The Soul Eater plus Bloodforge plus Serrated Edge just means that It's great for MastKiII to not need to reset. Look, these guys are good at building, Spooky. I don't know what to tell you. Hold on, good at engaging as well as MastKiII, not quite connecting. 1,000 lashes is quite enough. MastKiII decides, I'm a bit low. Let me go get healed to full health again. Here we go, but another spots that out. Great stun! And a dart comes out as well. The Trickster Spirit, not enough. MastKiII finds the sneaky solo pick onto OtherTheAnother. Does that open the map enough, though, for the Tartarus Titans to make a move at fire?
Was it sneaky? I mean, it feels like OtherTheAnother just kind of walked at him. Like, he knew MastKiII was there. He just said, hey, what if I tried to fight you? Oh, I get stuck. Oh, I'm dead. That's what happens when an assassin without CC fights the assassin with CC and 3 lifesteal items. Doesn't go too well.
I suppose if OtherTheAnother was witness to, hold on, this engagement, Dutsher drops the dynamic pillars, gets locked in. Bero now trying to put up the heal. Dutsher somehow still alive, only gets a pull onto 1 and has been isolated. Now Lode gets shut down as well. In an instant, the Titans have gone from possibly pulling this fire to having a huge fight afterwards. Lestimics will chase away Duduin. Doesn't have far to go. Maybe Duduin wants to re-engage. MastKiII will shut down that idea. Tartarus Titans get the enhanced fire giant.
This is the first fire giant of the game, Judas. And it's just already enhanced. It's going down a little bit slowly, but with AicyD and Zhainy here, it is pretty much just confirmed. There's nothing Bolts are ever going to be able to do to stop that one. It's a great fight from the Titans. MastKiII rotating in on the back end of things to take Lode down. Bero not able to keep his team alive for long enough. I mean, the Dharmic Pillars are just such a game changer. If you notice, I'm a Monster did miss Dutsher once again. That didn't connect. But now it's a Phoenix Siege comes through from Titans. They're just running it down this right side. With MastKiII in the mid lane, got all the pressure they need. I don't expect to see a full siege here. It should just be a reset. Those Fire Maidens on the board. Reset, spend your gold. Then you can start looking to use the EFG in a real effective manner. There's only one tier 2 left on the board. Or there on the left side. This is not looking like the best defense for the Bolts right now.
Like you mentioned, when there's an EFG on the other side, there is no good defense. It's just the best that you're going to get.
Yeah.
Now, this left side Phoenix is the one that the Tartarus Titans will really be looking for, just to get themselves set up for this next Fire Giant. But, 30 plus minutes in, Fire Giant on the board, well, Enhanced Fire Giant. This could just spell the end of the game if the Bolts aren't careful. It's always very, very tough to take a real good engagement into this sort of team. Also, there are 3 tier 2 towers still standing for the Tartarus Titans, so they can go all in and aren't really at risk of losing much of anything. It's going to be difficult for the Bolts to get a good fight, let alone a worthwhile fight. At this point, it's a case of staying alive rather than winning the game on this defense.
Yeah, it's really an ogre's choice for the Bolts right now. They can't step up. They have to just sit in their base and defend, but when you're doing that, you're giving up pretty much everything on the map to the other side. And with how even this game has been, it feels really bad to do that, because you've been taking such good fights. You've been neck and neck with each other, and after one single fight, that's where the hammer drops. That's where this game is now broken open. Bolts gathered on their left side, but MastKiII still in that mid lane, forces a split defense from the Bolts. They can't commit everything to one side here. The Titans know exactly what position they're in right now. Fire Minions on the right side. Minions coming down both the other lanes. It's going to be just a matter of time before they engage.
Or die for the Olympus Bolts. The Tartarus Titans teasing their way forward, getting a bit of damage in, but there's the Dynamic Pillars, and that's Desert Fury dropped as well. Bero, low health, has to retreat. MastKiII loops in and throws straight onto Lode. There's the great end. Can they damage through it, though? Yes, they can. Duduin dunks down. Finally, MastKiII shall fall. Now it's the all-important fight. Dutsher gets a no escape. Can it pull 2? Yes, it shall, but it's just the front line. Galadriel with a good silence. The Lestimics still full HP. There's Zhainy over the wall with the I'm a Monster. Only connects onto Duduin, however, and that is a mid lane Phoenix falls to. All 3 Phoenixes down for the Olympus Bolts, and the Tartarus Titans escape with their bounty. Maybe looking at another too. They've got to be careful of the Bolts. You might just lose the game off this. Lestimics with a huge stun. And looks like the Tartarus Titans re-engaging onto this Titan. Duduin solo gets silenced out. Can't teleport to the hammer. Dutsher gets in as well. This blink so aggressive, but Lestimics still slicing away. Now all fire minions coming on through. Finally, the Tartarus Titans get deflected. While the Olympus Bolts going to be playing the rest of this game one hand tied behind their backs.
3 Phoenixes down, Titan half health. You've stayed alive, which is, what we said they were looking to do, but how alive really are you? At this point, you're looking kind of like a zombie. You've got no defense up, your Titan's half dead, fire minions in every single lane, Enhanced Fire Giant going to be coming up as well here in a relatively short amount of time. You'll have 1 Phoenix up, and that comes through here. It's not the best position to be in. In fact, I would go so far, Judas, as to say this is potentially one of the worst positions that you could be in if you're one of the Olympus Bolts right now. There's really no good move to make here. You want to keep your Phoenix alive, so you want to try to get rid of these fire minions on the right side. But you also cannot step up to the Fire Giant and allow 2 waves of fire minions to hit your half-health Titan. So are you just giving up the EFG for free? If you do that, Tartarus Titans pretty much just walk in with the next mini wave and end the game by killing your Titan in an instant. You can maybe send Duduin, try to scout things out, see if he can make a play, and if not, Anvil of Dawn back to safety. That's really all you've got with that teleport coming in. Duduin gonna be repelled.
A fight going on here. Lestimics is stepped up, but Lestimics is at that unkillable stage. Duduin goes up high. OtherTheAnother already fallen down. Now Zhainy is low, but will Duduin commit to it? Looks like they shall not. Lode only hits for 100 damage or so. MastKiII comes in, diving deep onto Lode. Good impale, but not good enough. Bero trying to slam whatever damage they've got. The Titans are burning through the rest of the Olympus Bolts. Bero gets blown up. It is just Dutsher left alive, and Dutsher shall fall down. Charging through are the Tartarus Titans. Don't even need to watch the Titan go down. The Olympus Bolts fall eventually, and the Tartarus Titans win this game 2-1.
Honestly, the Titans won that game as soon as the Bolts showed up to try to help Duduin there. Even if they don't kill all the Bolts, all they have to do is keep them occupied, and the Fire Minions are going to end the game on their own there. It put the Bolts into a terrible situation where they just had to absolutely win that fight, no questions asked, and they had to do it quickly. And that just wasn't going to happen. As soon as one member of the Bolts went down, it was pretty much wraps for them on that fight. Excellent play from the Titans. MastKiII showed up with a massive performance on the Ratatoskr in both games he played it. Really just unstoppable on that thing.
Yeah, it was really, really strong there. I think MastKiII, once they got onto a pick like the Ratatoskr compared to the Pele, where you were able to get involved at all stages, show up late, show up early, was always fantastic. And I think that just gave so much space for the Titans to do what they wanted to do elsewhere. And, Zhainy on the Scylla had a more quiet game compared to the game on the Agni, but, eventually managed to find, some safety, got back at the end and, totally okay. But that is it, Spooky. That is the game today. We've seen lots of action. Really, really hotly contested. I think you'd be very excited to see both the Bolts and the Titans in their Week 2 game. But that will have to wait until next weekend. Most importantly, we have SPL coming up right next. So do not go anywhere. There's plenty more to be seen. But I've been Judas Priestley, joined by Spooky Mouse. Of course, we've had Printers and Raptor on the backside doing all the business for us there. But we will see you guys next time.